Hey guys, welcome back. We are here for episode 2 of the Zamora 2-player podcast. We did not think we were going to be able to do this for a couple of weeks, but we really liked doing it last week, so we kind of just carved out time. You're leaving like tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Matt is flying to New Zealand tomorrow, and we're just like, let's just do a quick podcast before you
Yeah.
go.
Well, we had so much fun doing the last one that I kind of said, I want to get this. This will help relax me before a big trip.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, perfect.
Awesome. So I'm your host, your player one, I guess you could call, Garrett Zamora, and I am joined by my player two, my brother Matt Zamora.
It works because I think on my screen, at least anyway, you're on the left and I'm on the right, which
Me
kind of
too.
tracks with P1, P2. So
Yeah, yeah. That's how I won't mix us up
yeah.
because keeping two people straight is hard. Okay, so we talked a lot last time about our earlier memories with like NES, SNES, N64, and all that kind of stuff. So I do, I was gonna like see how far we would go for the next episode, and it's like mostly PS1, and I'll see if we get through it all because we got a lot of memories with the PlayStation 1. I do want to just briefly talk about handheld, specifically Game Boy memories, because it kind of fits in the time period we were talking about last week. And we have a very special relationship with Game Boy because in the summers when we were it was before high school, so it would have been like middle school up to about like 6th grade or something. We would go camping like every weekend in the summer, and that's how we met our friends Jason and Melissa, like we mentioned them last week, from camping all the time. And we just had like, I don't remember if I got the Game Boy. I feel like I got it at like a yard sale or a flea market or something. I don't think
Oh
it was
yeah.
brand new because I had
Yeah,
the gray
yours
one.
was the gray one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
remember like this plastic container that was like all scratched up or something that it came in. Like I definitely don't think it was brand new.
yeah, yeah.
And like I don't think I would have even asked for a brand new Game Boy at that age, like because they were probably still kind of expensive at the time.
No, I feel like you got like secondhand with like Tetris,
Yeah.
or something at a garage sale.
So the
Right?
two games I had,
Yeah.
the reason Tetris was fine because I'll get into why the other one bothered me, but uh, so I had Tetris and Kirby's Pinball.
Right, 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 right.
And the problem, and I love those games. Like both of those games, I played a lot because also because it was the only two games I had for this Game Boy that used. I don't remember if it was 4 or 6 AA batteries, but it was absurd
Yeah,
because it would
yeah,
be like 4 or 5 hours of
yeah.
use. But the thing with like what do you call it? Kirby's Pinball is it was fun, but you literally just use left and A. And I was just like, this is barely even a game. I'm not I'm not using all the buttons.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not like it's a huge ask on the number of buttons on the Game Boy either. Like, it's
I know. It's like, okay, so I'm using literally half of the buttons and I'm mad about it.
yeah, yeah.
Tetris, obviously you pretty much used almost every
What else
button, I
could you
think.
do? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I just remember that was like, I want a real game because I just was pushing 2 buttons. So stupid. But first the Game Boy itself. So I had the gray one for probably, I feel like it might have been a year or two when we
Yeah.
just had the one Game Boy because you got the green one,
Yes,
the
yeah. I
like
was like,
toxic green or whatever that color was.
mine was colored, and I couldn't remember what color it was. I thought it was blue, but that was the N64 controller that I got.
Yeah.
I got that in blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
you
the
for sure had the green
green,
Game Boy.
kind of like similar, maybe slightly more toxic than the
I
cutting
think
green
it was called. I feel like it was called. That's half guess, but I feel like it was called Toxic Green or something because that
Well,
was
Nintendo had some word for it, or kind of
Yeah.
a yeah.
And that was like their 90s attitude, was all these like
Yeah,
weird
no,
like
that's what I mean. Yeah. Electric blue, toxic green, or
yeah.
kind of stuff like that.
And I remember being super jealous at how like nice yours looked. And it like it wasn't worn, like it still had that like sort of gradient sort of texture to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I think
So
I'd saved up for it, or as a grading present, or
yeah, that
something.
one was
Yeah,
definitely new. I remember like the box and
yeah,
everything
yeah,
that it came with. So when we would camp, we would bring our Game Boys because, of course, we did. Especially for so, I guess I'll elaborate a little bit. Our camper was essentially an old SMT bus that our
yeah,
stepfather had purchased like years before he met us,
yeah.
and gutted it to be basically a motorhome. So while we were driving, we were like had full like free reign in the bus. Um, to just there's couch and like a kitchen
Oh,
table.
go to the fridge, hang out, go lie down in the bed, like yeah, like an old 4104 Greyhound bus. And anyway, so just we could be going to whatever campground, whether it was 30 minutes away or 6 hours away. It was just whatever. We're just gonna hang out while it's going down the highway. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was awesome.
So it was good for us. Like it was easy for us to like play Game Boy like while we're in the bus like traveling, and then when we're there or whatever. And the biggest game for me for sure, and I don't think I got it new. I think it was a garage sale type situation. But I got Link's Awakening
Yeah.
pretty early, and I had already been a fan of Zelda because this was pre N64, I
Yeah.
think. But I had already. I don't. Maybe this was what made me like Zelda because I didn't play. Well, no, I did play the ones on NES a little bit, so I was familiar with it. But I didn't. We didn't own either of them on NES.
No, and that's a good point because throughout our entire kind of NES discussion last episode, Zelda wasn't even part of it because it
Yeah,
wasn't. It's kind of maybe too advanced for us or too complicated or hard. And
and I think we
yeah,
just didn't have act like we didn't just have. It wasn't in that box of
yeah,
games.
it wasn't in the cardboard box, and I bet you it was just constantly. This is a term I haven't used in a long time. Rented out.
Yeah,
Every time Midnight Video had one copy, and we'd go there on a Friday night. Of course, it was already rented out. So
right.
yeah, I think we could just never get our hands on it.
I know like some of our like step cousins or whoever would one of them like Nancy or she would be our step cousin, I think.
Hmm.
She had it, or
Oh,
her
really?
brother had it, I think, or one of someone in their house had it. And
Sure.
there's so when did you break your arm? How old were you?
93.
When you
Uh,
broke your arm, I
yeah,
stayed with them for like 2 or 3 days, or I forget how
that's
long it was.
that's right. I forgot that
And
you stayed there with like Georgia and Annette and Nancy and yeah,
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 and they had. I don't remember if they had both, but they at least had Zelda 2,
yeah. Okay.
and I had played it a bunch there.
Oh, wow,
Um,
that's funny. I didn't know that.
yeah, so like I knew about it, and we had Nintendo Power at this point, so like I was familiar with Zelda. But so I think that what made me want Link's Awakening because I had a Game Boy and it was like perfect for the
Yeah.
summer. Um, and like outside of Ocarina of Time, I'm pretty sure Link's Awakening is the one I've played all the way through the most
Yeah,
because it was
that
like
sounds right. Yeah.
every weekend. I would
Yeah.
all right, new file,
Yeah.
start it over.
I remember being like kind of skeptical about it at first because it was just like, oh, like what version of Ganon is the villain? It's like, oh no, it's the wind fish. You're like, what the crap?
Yeah,
Like, come on.
Uh,
But it's a totally awesome game.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it ends up being like one of the most like interesting like stories and endings.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, because they could just like I remember reading a lot about how they just had free reign because it was like a side project sort of thing. Like, it wasn't like
Yeah.
a console Zelda, and that's why there's like Goombas in it and like
Yeah,
chain
that's right.
chomps. Like they just went crazy with that kind of stuff.
Man.
Um,
And the music was really good and like kind of different in a way.
yeah,
I remember there were a lot of mechanics that were way better in that than the SNES than Link to the Past. Like it was a very well designed game, good, for Game Boy, let alone, any other system kind of thing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it was. I mean, there was a reason it was just easy for me to just play it every
Hmm.
weekend.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that was a lot of my Game Boy memories. Obviously, I touched on very briefly last week that I got Pokemon at some point,
Yep.
and it was definitely a situation like I wanted that for Christmas really bad, and I think our mom had to go to like St. John, which is like an hour and a half or give or take away of
Yep.
drive,
Yep.
and she was like calling a bunch of stores and like they had one
Yeah.
in St. John, and she like went and got it because I want that game so bad.
I remember all these stories about mom like getting a game at Christmas time. Like now, I mean, you can pre-order whatever, whatever, but no,
Yeah.
this was just like call Walmart and like, hey, do you have any? It's like I have one. Like, oh, if you're not here in 30 minutes, like I'm selling it to someone,
Yeah.
whatever, or
I
Toys R Us, whatever. Like, yeah,
I had like the numbers for like Walmart, Toys R Us,
hmm,
God, who I can't even remember all the stores that would have been around that would have potentially have it. Like Sears maybe. And I don't think we had like a EB Games or anything at that point yet. But I knew all their numbers off by heart because
yeah,
when a game would come out or something that I'd be looking for, it'd be like, all right, it's like get home from school, time to call all the stores.
yeah, no, totally. And like immediately, as soon as you get through, you'd know immediately, like, send me to the entertainment
Yeah,
department, whatever.
yeah.
I
Or like
remember
what
like,
extension to get like
yeah,
electronics or whatever.
yep. I remember like that's how I learned to calculate tax as a kid. Because it'd be like, okay, it's
Yeah.
$70, but what's 15% HST? And like that's that's what motivated me to learn math about how to calculate tax. Because you'd go there with your piggy bank
Pennies.
essentially. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah. Uh,
Video games are how I know what words like haste or
mhm.
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but haste is always one of like I know what that word means because of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Like that is why I know what that word means when I
Yeah.
was like 10 years old or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But no, okay. So I that kind of rings a bell about mom having to go to St. John to get,
yeah.
and I think, oh, now I'm doubting myself. I think you had blue was the first
Yeah.
one that you got. Okay,
And it was
yeah,
just because that's what they had. Like
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
truly didn't care which. At that point it was the first one, so like I didn't even know what the difference was really.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, like I didn't care. Ultimately, I'm glad I had blue because I just like the color blue more than I like red.
yeah.
But yeah, that was the big. And that was a Christmas present. I for sure remember getting that for Christmas.
Okay. Mm.
And because I remember her telling me the story after, I'm pretty sure I wanted it from like Santa. And so she's like, God damn it, I gotta find this
Yeah.
stupid game because otherwise she's gonna not believe in Santa anymore. Or
And
think he's a bad kid or something.
and that's crazy. Like, Game Boy had kind of, just it it wasn't so much its own. Like it was kind of like, oh, okay, Game Boy is the portable system with a handful of plucky games that whatever, but Pokemon was like its own phenomenon that was
Uh,
only on Game Boy.
yeah,
Like it was
and
kind of like,
and it.
this is a
Sorry,
go
you
ahead.
finish.
I was like, this is a huge thing, and it's like, oh well, what it's not that you got the Game Boy version of a crazy successful
Like a Link's
N64
Awakening
game.
or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's just its own successful game, and it's not a port. It's not a Game Boy port, I think is what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's like it was handheld only until the Switch,
Yeah, yeah,
until
yeah.
Nintendo Switch. Like it just stayed handheld forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Uh,
but
but no, that's crazy.
yeah, I played a ton of that. Kirby's Dream Land I picked up at some point. I remember playing that over and over and over because that was another camping game.
Yeah.
The best part about some of my Game Boy memories is I think there's the big flea market that's like once a year up in like Sussex or something,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's where I got the Super Game Boy.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
because it was
Uh,
definitely like a used, like it was not a brand new thing, and
okay.
I'm pretty sure it was like we went up for the weekend. There's this big flea market like 40 minutes away, And I think we went there like camped because people go and camp up there because
Yeah.
it's like kilometers long, like flea markets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure if it wasn't that, it was just a regular garage sale.
Mm.
But it was one of the two. And like when I think that, so like we had this was at this point we had the 50-inch TV that we talked about last week that I won,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I know without having to see it, that must have looked like hot garbage.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many like pixels a Game Boy, game uses per screen, but
Like the
it's
size of a
not many.
fist. Yeah.
And I just remember playing Pokemon on that TV so much.
Through all the speakers, like sound that's intended for like the size of
One
a penny. Yeah, yeah,
one mono,
yeah,
channel speaker.
yeah.
But
Like
I
the
just
same
vividly remember.
speaker that was in your phone, your landline phone.
Yeah, because I feel like by the time we got Pokemon, I think we weren't doing camping as much because I don't have a lot of memories of playing Pokemon while we were camping.
No, I feel like that was yeah. Link's Awakening was kind of the one
The
that was
camping
played.
game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it would be like you'd turn it on and like the red light for power would like get dimmer when your batteries are starting to die.
And kind of like flicker, and yeah,
And
yeah,
I would like take a battery out and just move it, but like not
yeah,
replace it, just move it. And like, oh, I think it's brighter now.
yeah. I gotta save quick, or else my batteries are gonna die.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyway, yeah. So I just wanted to touch. Oh, and for your Game Boy, I remember you had Wario Land.
yeah, and it's like I'm trying to remember like what I played a lot of on Game Boy,
That's
and
what
I
I
think
couldn't. I just remembered Wario Land, but I couldn't remember. Maybe you like borrowed.
I maybe borrowed it for rented it a lot or something, but I feel like
You've
I watched a lot of you playing Zelda.
sure.
But yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you definitely like you for sure owned Wario Land because I
Hmm.
remember like borrowing it from you to play
Okay.
from once in a while.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know if you had any other major games. I remember I had that James Bond one because we were on the hype of GoldenEye. Like, oh, James Bond on Game Boy. I was like, this game sucks.
Oh, like, and that is a port of like an
Yeah,
N64
that
game,
was
and like it wasn't even. I mean, of course, it's not a first-person shooter or Game
no.
Boy. Like it was like a side scroller, like Mario clone, kind of
Yeah,
thing or something.
yeah. It
Uh,
was definitely like I think it was like maybe top down, but yeah, it was just like it probably is like not that bad. But I went from GoldenEye, and they were clearly like capitalizing on the hype of GoldenEye
yeah,
to
yeah,
make this
yeah.
game, and it was like okay, like that might have been my first like you said Game Boy port like expectations. I know where to set them when they put something on a handheld that was you know built off of the hype of a console game or something.
And at that age, it's just like I spent $40 on this, and like that's like the equivalent of spending like $500. Now it's just like I saved up for this forever, for this hot garbage.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
Um, because I don't know why but I have a memory of Jason like making fun of that game or something. So like that one was definitely around the camping era.
And if he was
Um,
making fun of it, it'd be relentless.
yeah, yeah,
Constantly dissing it. So
yeah. And Jason was, I think we mentioned last week, they're two of our friends that we went camping with all the time.
yeah.
And I feel like we helped get them into games because I don't think they really played much before we all
No,
started hanging out.
kind of like it was something that's in their kind of background, but it kind of became more of a hobby
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
centralized.
that's what it is. They had one, but they didn't really like play it much or
Yeah,
something. But
yeah.
I definitely remember them talking about games more the more we hung out with
Oh yeah,
our bad
and
influences.
it'll evolve as you'll all see because like we'd play games together and kind of make fun of them together or like talk about them together or the music and
Mm.
there's so many aspects of gaming that kind of turned into while we were camping just a bonding kind of thing. So yeah,
Because we wouldn't see them throughout the year
yeah,
typically, even though they
yeah.
only live like 40 minutes away.
No,
Um,
when you're kids, they might as well live in a whole other country.
yeah. So we
Yeah,
would just like have these concentrated like hangouts for so long,
yep,
for 2 months, which again, when you think about just like summer vacation, it felt like ages.
yep.
But it's like, no, it was like 8 weeks.
No, no. It's like I haven't seen you in like 10 months, which seems like forever.
Yeah.
And now we're hanging out every second weekend for 8 weeks. So i.e. we have the whole summer, this whole
Yeah.
era together to get caught up. Yeah.
Just to cap off our camping discussion, please illuminate everyone about wiffle ball.
So I can't remember what. So we go. It was camping. We at these bluegrass music festivals, and
I
so
think
kind of
this one was
camping.
Rogersville. Or no. No, I don't remember. I don't remember.
Anyway, it was one where essentially there's a big stage with music, but we would just kind of hang around and you know play games or kind of kick a soccer ball around, whatever. I remember it was some other family, some kid was
That
just
we
like
didn't know.
didn't know and just like, do you guys want to play wiffle ball? Like, what the crap is wiffle ball? And he made it up just like it's the best sport in the world. Like, you guys are kicking around a soccer ball or throwing around a football. Like, that's child's play compared to wiffle ball. I was like, okay, here we go. And
And
then so, go
Melissa
ahead.
reminded me, because I forgot this part,
Yeah.
me and her were like hiding under the bus.
Because you didn't want to play with this. Yeah, so that makes sense because I feel like it wasn't like a whole gang of us.
Yeah, it was
It was
just you and
just
Jason.
Jason and
Yeah.
I. And it's like this plastic ball with a bunch of holes in it. And like the theory is and I think you can watch like wiffle ball stuff on YouTube now. And it's like it's supposed to kind of curve and depending on how you throw it and make some sort of wiffly noise, hence the name. But I feel like we weren't even doing that. It was like T-ball, but with a wiffle ball. And the bat's not even like a real bat. It's more like just a like it's not shaped like a bat. It's just a tube, like a plastic, tube. You'd smack it, and it would fly really weirdly. Um, and we were just like, we played for like 5 minutes, and we're like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. No wonder you guys were like hiding away. But yeah, it was just like rando kid talking about how this amazing sport, and we like, okay, sure. Where the hell did Garrett and Melissa go? Oh, well, whatever.
And it wasn't even like they approached and we hid because of them. We were just playing or doing something, and like they
Yeah,
approached you guys because maybe we were just separated, and
yeah.
we were like, I don't know why we were in a hiding position already,
But you
but
were
we
ready
were,
to
and we're
get.
like, we're not going out. We had instincts to stay away.
Oh man, and we were just like, let's go back to our normal, like tried, tested, true camping vibe of like I remember like there'd be Game Boy, we play Pogs,
Yeah, like chess.
chess, yeah.
I think we play like card games, and we would like torment Jason and Melissa's mother,
Yeah, that was
just
always part of it. Yeah.
chasing around with like water guns and stuff.
Yeah. It's like camping stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
the usual camping stuff.
yeah, yeah. But no, and then yeah, Game Boy was always part of that. So like the truly mobile kind of part of our gaming our gaming history origin stories are deeply rooted in hanging around the TV in the basement kind of thing, but yeah, the Game Boy was the taking it on adventures outside of the house.
Yeah,
And summer was our it's cold, dark, and snowy most of the Canadian weather, so in the summer when we get out we'd still get a chance to game a little bit.
yeah, and like that was the the most concentrated amount of like handheld gaming I did until like I was in college. Until
Oh,
like the
nice.
Nintendo DS came out. I think it was like early 2000s or something.
Yeah, totally.
Or no, I think it came out earlier. I just got it later because it was definitely when I was like college for that.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't even high school, so it was like we got like such a concentrated dose of Game Boy that
Yeah.
it's like it lasted me until much later, and then I could just buy my own, DS at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna talk about PS1. Let's just take a super quick break because we have a lot to discuss, so we might as well just jump in fresh.
Yeah.
So we'll just take a quick break, and then we're gonna talk first about demo discs.
Well, best way to get into PS5 was with a demo, or to get into PlayStation was with a demo disc. So yeah, cool.
Okay, so we'll be right back.
All right, cool.
Okay, we're back. So yeah, one thing about Matt and I is we have pretty much been like lifelong like PlayStation, like given the the choice in the console wars, at least between like Xbox and PlayStation. Nintendo to me has always just been like the bonus third one that you get anyway.
Yeah.
We've always leaned towards PlayStation, and arguably the reason for that is because of when we got into you got a PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
We did play it at our cousin Jacques that we mentioned a few times last week, that he had one, and we'll talk about it after, but I distinctly remember playing Final Fantasy VII there and Tekken 2 as far as PlayStation games go.
Yeah.
And trust me, we will talk about that. Because I have some
both
some
of which
notes.
are staples in
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so true.
Yeah.
Those are like the first games we were probably introduced as PlayStation games.
Yeah.
And like to this day, like try and stop me from playing the new Tekken or Final Fantasy.
Oh, and a comment is just like, oh man, do you want to play some Tekken this weekend? And it's like a constant, like, oh yeah, we know exactly who's each other's gonna pick.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that's
anyway,
so cool. I didn't even put that together in my head.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But for now, I want to talk about demo discs because that is for sure something that like a '90s kid will remember. That is not, you get game demos and stuff like that digitally or whatever, nowadays. But I don't even know how we got them. Were they in? Some of them were in magazines.
Magazines, yeah. Some. So for the most part, yeah. In like, not. I don't think Electronic Gaming Monthly had them, but you'd get like there's like a PlayStation.
It was like PlayStation Magazine. Like I know that was one. Maybe that's
like a publication of Sony. Like it was their own kind of propaganda kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they'd have a demo disc, and they were much more expensive as a result. Like it'd be like
the magazine was.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Like EGM would be like $5, but then like this one was like $10 because it had an actual demo disc in it, kind of thing. But
so the joke's on them because we got dozens of hours out of that like $5 demo disc, to the point where there are some games when I was writing down games I remember playing on these discs that like I probably played that demo for like 30 hours, and when I eventually like tried the full game, I was like, I'm good. Like, I get it.
It's like, it'd be really weird. Like you'd be playing the first level of the actual game, and you're like, I can't believe I'm playing the real game now. It's the same experience, but it's not the demo disc. And then you get past that, you're like, meh. Yeah, I just like the thrill of playing the same thing I played 30,000 times. But it's almost like, but knowing it's the real disc.
Yeah, it's so weird. So, I'll mention a couple that I remember from these, and you fill in blanks if there's some that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, so, I have like glimpses of some, and I'm hoping that you'll jiggle some from my memory with your comments. So, okay.
So, I don't remember the name of it, but it was a Star Wars fighting game.
Oh yeah, and like
it's like Masters of something. I don't remember.
And like the response time on everything was just like terrible.
Yeah, it was not good.
You could pick 2 players.
That's what you on the demo. There was only like I think it was Luke and some someone some
Yeah,
like
yeah.
original character or something.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, totally, exactly. And like just a very loose association with the franchise, like maybe some comic
Like,
book
why are they
lore or something.
fighting? Who cares?
Yeah, it's like who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I forgot about that one.
so a all-time classic is Parappa the Rapper. That was definitely a demo disc that we played a
Oh,
lot.
that's a perfect example of getting past the first stage, and you're like,
I'm good.
I'm good. I just want the first stage is the best. Yeah.
And that was,
Oh
as much
man.
as I remember, like, just like the sort of silliness of that game, I also remember, I don't know if it was one of us or like our cousins Mike or Nick when you'd play it, because he would say punch, kick, or whatever.
Yeah.
And kick, 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 yeah.
And I still can't like, was that good or was that bad?
I
Like
think it was bad. Because it was like a rhythm game essentially. So I
yeah,
assume if you're like doing it off the prompt, it's
yeah.
probably deducting score.
But like if it was like punch, kick, if you hit like punches and kicks in between, was that helping your score or hurting your score?
I don't remember. My
I,
instinct is no, but who the hell knows?
who the hell knows? Right, right. But yeah, that first stage, he was like an onion. Was the
Yeah, that's right. I think he was. He
like
was
some
like
kung
your
fu master,
master. Or something.
yeah, something. It's like anyway, that game made no sense. But and then like the next one, it's just like someone else like, no, I'm
No,
not ready
I
for this.
don't.
I just want the first level
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Um, now this, I'm pretty sure this one's on the PlayStation Classic that you have, Intelligent Cube or
Yes,
something.
it is. Yeah,
Okay,
and
because
I
I
remember.
remember playing the demo of that. I don't
Yeah,
remember. I just remember that game like looked interesting, and I think it was the sound of them moving, like the cubes
yeah,
moving,
yeah,
was like
yeah,
satisfying.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember
And it'd be like,
why.
oh, the puzzle was never different. It's like I'm gonna play Intelligent Cube again.
Yeah, that's. I guess that's true for a demo. Like, I'm sure that it probably gets some more complicated ones, but it's like whatever.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like, just want your
No,
puzzle fix.
no, exactly. And it was pretty visually impressive for the time as well.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember, that's what I remember. Just looked super
yeah.
interesting. Um,
Oh, I got another one.
yeah, you go.
It was like a Twisted Metal. That
Mm.
was one. And again, you could only pick two cars.
Yep.
Probably the clown one, whatever that was. And
Oh, I wouldn't
but
remember. Yeah.
but yeah, I remember that was on a demo disc and kind of one arena and time limited. I bet you like 3 minutes before. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So,
crash and try to blow up someone's car in 3 minutes or something.
and I think one of my friends, Dave, who I grew up with, he had that game. I think. So
The
my
real game.
yeah, exactly. So that's why I forgot that in the demo, because when I'm remembering that game, I thought I was remembering him, but no, we definitely played a lot of that as well. Do you remember Future Cop LAPD?
No, future.
I think that's what it's called. It was like kind of isometric, like top down, and you're just
Okay.
like these mechs, these like bipedal
Oh
mechs,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
you're like the police force or
Yes. No,
something.
now I was like, if you had said something like a Gundam something or other, but yeah, no, that's what it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to see actually if that is in fact what it's called, because now that's what I wrote down. Oh yeah, it's like auto filling in. Yeah, 100%. Um, and that is the biggest example of a game for me.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, as soon as you see it, you remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, that's the biggest game for me that was like, I played that so many times, and I think we rented it maybe or something. I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell's this level? Like,
Yeah. It's like,
that's the best example of that happening, where I'm like, I'm good. I've played like 20 hours of that first level. Like, I know how it's a good game. I get
and
it.
I think like not only did you play 20 hours of it and I played 20 hours of it, I like watched you play 20 hours. Like and I'm
And
just like,
I
this is fun.
believe, and that was in the era when, so our dad remarried and had two kids, and one of them, our stepbrother Patrick, he had a PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
and we would like visit our dad every other weekend and spend the weekends there and stuff. And I remember watching him play that demo a bunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to add a third pool to that.
Yep, and it was just as fun every single time. Yeah, yeah. Do you want to play X game? No, no, no. Do you want to play X demo of said game?
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Let's do this for 4 hours.
um, the did any other come to you that you can think of?
No, you go ahead. I'll see if any others come to mind. I mean, sorry, Tekken 2 was a demo
Oh yeah,
as
that's
well.
true. And I think we had known about it from
Yeah,
watching our cousin play it.
we played Tekken 2 with Jacques. Like, let's call that essentially the first PlayStation game I knew of and played. But then when we had a demo, we got the PlayStation, and that's a whole other story. And then the demo disc, I think that was the demo disc that came with the PlayStation.
You're probably right.
It had Tekken 2 on there, and you could only choose Jun and Lei. They were the only two that you could pick. And I remember
that's why I love June, I guess.
and at that time, I was like, Yoshimitsu is the coolest character of all time. And you could see him, but he was grayed out, and you can't pick him.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could just play like Jun against Lei or Lei against Jun. It was never. I feel like there was never any other people you fought. But anyway, okay, Tekken 2 was one that I remember.
Yeah, I forgot we had the demo. We did play the demo of that a lot. And I don't think we would have known what it was if it wasn't for our cousin. We would have no idea.
Yeah.
So the one that escapes this sort of black hole of never getting the game played because we played the demo so much. I don't know if it was our disc or someone else's or something, but we for sure played a demo of Metal Gear Solid. Like a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that. We play, yeah, okay.
I think it was that whole first section until you get in the building, or maybe even a little when you meet like the DARPA chief or something.
I think you met the DARPA chief. You met Meryl. It was a pretty extensive demo. Oh man, we played the crap out of that demo, and it's so like the credits are going on while you first are. Oh, that was a good demo. Yeah, like
that demo.
Made you need to buy the disc.
Which I don't know if you got that. I don't remember if you got that as a gift or if you just bought it. But
I got it Christmas.
Okay, so it was for sure. Like I know we got it or you got it. I just couldn't remember the context. But yeah, easy buy for that one, and the demo. However many hours playing that demo did not stop you from playing all the way through that game.
You play the demo, throw a couple of guys around.
It was just so fun.
Amazing. Even if the demo was only that room before the elevator,
like on the helipad or whatever,
or because you swim up.
Oh yeah, that's
not even the helipad. Yeah, not even, just like you swim up and you're like around a bunch of boxes before you go up the elevator the first time. If the demo disc was only that. That'd be a good. That's a good demo. Because you'd come up, knock on the box. What? Come around, throw them, snap some guy's neck, go dive into the water or whatever. Like you could scare them, dive into the water. You could, have fun with that for hours.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one that escaped the demo curse of us not playing the full game.
Yeah, no, that
I can remember at least.
Yeah, because we didn't really know about Metal Gear at all.
No, we didn't play the one on the NES or whatever. Never heard of it.
Yeah, and so I can't remember how we got that disc. I'm sure it came with some sort of magazine, but I remember reading a magazine that had Metal Gear Solid on the cover, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Reading about it and like whatever.
And because the art, like the cover art for it is so distinct. Like it's that it's like. It's not like the rendered. Yeah, it's not like the rendered model gussied up a little. It's like this really beautiful looking kind of art style, like very unique. So it was just such like a mystery what that game was, or the mystique around it, I guess.
And it seemed to have some sort of like cult following behind it. And I remember being really weirded out. It's like I know gaming. Like, why have
Yeah.
I never heard of this? And I think it's because it's that whole like espionage, Tom Clancy kind of subculture that I never
Sure.
really got into. And so I think it was just people who were really into that kind of espionage um, world were
Mm.
so obsessed with it. And we were just like, ah, whatever, ninjas,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but anyways, yeah, that demo disc. Oh man, I'm surprised that didn't like stop working, or something.
Yeah, it didn't get scratched up too bad.
Yeah. I don't know if this counts. I think it does count, but there was a demo disc for Final Fantasy VIII.
In
Can you remember?
yeah, uh Brave Fencer something. Brave
Oh, you
Fencer
gotta get
Musashi?
Musashi. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, they had a demo disc for FF8 in that.
And it was the landing,
Yeah,
the like the assault or
Gullet,
whatever.
Assault or
With a
whatever.
unique track that never plays in the actual game.
Yeah, and it was a really good track.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this, but like the the FMV is totally different. It was
Yeah,
like
because he had his he didn't have his like seed uniform.
oh, true, yeah, yeah. But
And
also like the gunner is like a soldier instead of Quistis or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like
uh,
Renoa is there with you in the demo, but she's not there.
which doesn't make sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. That was such a
'Cause-
good
oh,
demo.
it's a Renoa, and then they changed it to Selfie, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 she's the one that's there with you. Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, so that I remember renting Brave Fencer Musashi, and
Not
being
touching it at
so,
all.
or well, no, the first time we rented it, it didn't have the demo disc with it, and it was
Oh.
like. This is the whole reason, like calling up Jumbo Video or whatever, and like the whole reason I rented this game was for the demo disc for FF8, and it's like the
They don't know.
14-year-old is like, what the hell are you talking about? And then like, so we played the game, which was whatever. But then I remember we went
Which
somewhere.
I'm sure I remember it looked cool, and I'm sure it's a good game, but it did not have a chance to
It's not what we
withstand
wanted.
our disappointment.
And I remember calling, different place and was like, look, I'm gonna rent this game, but you need to promise me that the Final Fantasy 8, it's like you're wondering with the demo disc. And they're like, yeah, man, we just like take the plastic off the game and put it on the shelf. Like you'll get the full thing. Like, okay, and then we can finally play it, and mind blown. That anyway, I'm sure that'll have its own episode. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
FF PlayStation Final Fantasy games in and of itself.
we will. Yeah, that will be multiple. I will say. So I'll say one funny memory about FF8 is
The demo or the game itself?
well, it takes place in the demo, but it
Okay.
came up I think when we had the actual game. It was like you and Jason trying to either explain or like maybe understand or something the way the crab thing moves, like its legs, like it's like 1 and 6, 1 and 6, or something like that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I don't remember why. Like, did one of us ask? Like, I don't remember why
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
were like
Where did that
presenting
conversation-
your findings on this.
presenting your findings. Yeah, yeah.
But that
I'm
might have
st-
been when we had the actual game. That was probably not from the demo.
I don't know. Getting
Because
to
that happens
point,
in the demo, but I feel
Yeah.
like Jason was not, because we had taken our PlayStation camping
yeah,
because it was the weekend FF8 came out,
yeah, no,
and we hooked it
exactly.
up to that little TV in the bus.
Oh man, smaller than my laptop screen. Like,
Yeah, it's like 10
yeah.
inch or something. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's tiny
Yeah.
and like above the driver's seat. You're looking at the ceiling and it's like 10-inch whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
classic.
that we will. Like I said, we're gonna have some FF themed episodes for sure because we have the most to talk about those. But
Yeah,
yeah, I totally
But,
forgot about the FF8 demo. That's a good call, and it
Yeah.
counts like that. They have done that. If you bought, what was it, FF Type 0 HD, which was like a PS4 port of a PSP game,
Okay.
you got a FF15 exclusive demo.
Oh man.
And I was
So
like,
s-
I bought that game. I maybe played it for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, and I put like 20 hours into that demo. Yeah, I
And I
love when they
feel
do that.
like, oh yeah, with and I never get this pronunciation right. What was the game like that you would it was like Final Fantasy characters fighting each other.
Air geese or
Xenogears.
air G's. I think it's air geese, something like that.
That was a demo for that in Bushido Blade, I think, and
Yeah, I think you're right.
or maybe or in Bushido Blade you could choose Cloud. Anyway, there's something
I don't remember that, but
or Sephiroth maybe. Anyways, I remember Ergies being a demo in some sort of game as
and
well
like
or something.
the what was it? Was it Cloud and Sephiroth and was Tifa in that game?
In Ergies, I think, yeah, maybe.
Like that literally like sold that game
Yeah, oh,
for
totally,
a lot of
totally.
people, I think. And it was like a weird like 3D fighter. Like it wasn't just
Yeah, like
2D. It was like sort of isometric sort of view, and it was
yeah.
fun. I remember enjoying that very much.
Oh yeah, I mean using cloud and non like turn-based combat, like hell,
Yeah,
sign me up.
yeah, that might have been one of the first like instances of that because he's obviously made appearances in a lot of games since.
Yeah.
Depends if FF Tactics was before Air Geese because he
Hmm.
showed up in that,
Right,
and Kingdom Hearts. I guess he was in that too. But anyway, when you could play as him, at least was in
right.
that fighting game.
Yeah.
Man, but they were in the demo for that fighting game.
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure if I ever played it,
Oh,
but
I
anyways,
thought my memories were. I thought my memories of playing that were from owning it, but maybe it was just all from the demo.
yeah, maybe. But still, like classic. I'm sure you could only pick two characters.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was like,
yeah.
timed match only, two
And like
minutes,
one
3 minutes.
stage or something. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, we played the crap out of demo discs for sure.
yeah,
Like it wasn't like, oh, cool, in the garbage, but go buy a game. It'd be like this goes in the the bookcase
yeah.
of actual games, just as valuable as any other
Yeah,
game.
this will get as much screen time as any other game we own.
Yeah.
Um,
I forgot about the Metal Gear Solid one. Yeah, that's classic.
so a great memory of mine with the PS1 is because you. Sorry, did you say you got it? Did we talk about how you got it? Did you save up
No.
for it?
So I don't know if you remember this, but uh, like with Jacques, we saw him playing Tekken and like went over with he had some friends over or whatever, and we played some Tekken there.
Yeah.
And then Final Fantasy 7. And
Which, by the way, I'll mention it now because
yeah,
I'll forget later. One funny note I remember about playing that at his place
yeah.
is we had no memory card.
Oh no, sorry, no, we did. But I, here,
I know.
here
Yeah,
was the thing. Yeah,
I remember
he
this.
he did have a memory card, but there were 3 slots.
Yep.
Like every Final Fantasy game
Yeah, because
before that
to
ever.
our knowledge, on like FF6 on the SNES and Chrono Trigger and everything, it was always 3 save slots. Yep.
And so there were 3 slots taken up by Jacques, and so we said, "Oh man, we can't save."
Because we didn't
So
know he. Because I don't think he was there that time. Yeah,
he
because he
wasn't.
would have told us.
It was like we went to Jacques, and he was like, "Look, I have to work tonight.
Yeah,
So you guys come over, just like literally, I'll have FF7 set up for you. Just play,
yeah,
and I'll get home at 10, and I'll see you guys then." And we like, "Oh man, he's gonna let us play Final Fantasy 7. We're so excited."
like all
Um,
night.
all night, and then it was like, "Oh man, there's no save slot. Uh, so don't die."
Yeah,
uh,
because we
and
didn't
like,
know like what we could overwrite because he was gone.
yeah, exactly. And he
Yeah,
was at work, and before cell phones or anything. So it was like, oh man, so like don't die. Like not even like get to a boss and like if you die, then it's all over.
yeah, yeah.
Like hard mode of a game.
And it's
So
not like we were seasoned veterans.
it's our first time
Yeah,
playing
right.
it.
Yeah, like we had
And
played turn-based combat games, but first time in any individual like Final Fantasy or just RPG in general. Like
yeah,
you don't know all the ins and outs of the mechanics yet or whatever.
we're still new to the whole genre.
Yeah,
And then I feel like it was right before the pillar with like Reno or whatever, where I was just like, I'm just gonna check, and it was like dink dink, and then
And like
scrolls down to a new one.
9 more slots.
Yeah, yeah, and we're just like, oh my god, like wipe the sweat off our brows from the past couple of hours
Yeah.
of
I
like
forgot. I forgot
coming
about
so
that.
close to death and being like, oh no, and then we're like 3 hours in.
Because like now you go and play that game and you can get through Midgar in like 3 hours, like 2 hours, like the whole of Midgar.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
like, we were probably playing for like 5 or 6 hours because you don't know what to go, where to
Oh,
go or
and
whatever,
we were
right?
savoring it. We were just like,
Yeah.
because the upgrade from 6 to 7 was just like unreal.
Insane, yeah.
Um, but
I'm glad you
so
remembered that. I thought we just didn't have a memory card, but as soon as you said that, I remember us being like, blink, blink, like,
yeah.
God damn it.
And so I wear this as a badge of honor. I bought FF7 before I bought a PlayStation.
Oh, that's
Um,
right.
and
Yes.
like it essentially was like this unachievable goal on my dresser of just like I have Final Fantasy 7. I just need to save every penny and like you have the game. You can get the system.
I did the same thing with Smash Brothers on GameCube. I bought
Oh
that game
yeah,
before I got
yeah.
my GameCube. Yeah.
Yep. And so I had pristine FF7 up on the shelf. And I remember I called everywhere in town to find who had it for like the cheapest and like
Sure.
buy like $1. Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
it's $70 at Walmart, but it's 69 over at Toys R Us, whatever. Or oh, it's 68.50 over here. Meanwhile, mom's gonna drive us there. It's probably, $5 of gas all around anyway. But I remember the place that had it. Do you remember where I bought it?
No.
It was at then Price Club, now Costco.
Oh, okay.
And I remember like, Mom, they have it at Toys R Us for like 68.50, and it's like
Was
67.99.
it that cheap?
I bet you it was $70 rings a bell to me.
Okay. I guess we got it way late.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And like we went to Price Club, which has a very sorry, and that's Costco now.
Yeah.
They have a very prominent electronics kind of section. But I remember getting it from there. Mom probably went and did some actual grocery shopping,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I remember getting that before the PlayStation.
Cool. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, yeah. But so that's I don't remember how. I think I saved up and bought it because the the thing that makes me think that like I bought it instead of us getting it for Christmas or whatever, because I kept it in my room.
Yeah, for sure, yes.
Yeah.
So for sure it was yours, and
Yeah.
that you bought it, or you asked for it for yourself, but you must have bought it because that was like the deal. It's
Yeah.
like you get it in your room, and it was like my like one of my like most like treasured sort of memories of that era
Yeah.
is like it was like I have to ask him if I can play. Like,
Yeah.
like I can't just come in and start playing. It was like I have to knock and like ask him, "Hey, are you playing right now?" Or like, do you mind if I play for a little bit? And then when you want to play, just kick me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll you have it. I'll give it back to you. Because we had like little. God, what were they, like 13-inch TVs or something in our
We
in our
each had the
rooms?
same TV in our rooms. Yeah, and yeah, 13-inch. I'm almost positive it was 13-inch. Yeah.
And so you had it hooked up to that, and yeah, FF7 was, so that makes sense why that's like our earliest or my earliest memory of you having it.
I remember like us watching the end of Final Fantasy 7, like the crazy long at the time, FMV for the ending in my room on that 13-inch TV.
Yeah.
And Mom and Clarence were away from whatever reason, but Grandma was like babysitting us, and
Okay.
she was like, "You guys have to go to bed." And we were like 5 minutes in. It's like, "Grandma, we just beat Final Fantasy 7. Like, it's the like longest FMV in history." And then her being like, "I don't know what any of this means. Like, shut up. You have to go to bed."
I don't remember that.
and then so we're like, can Garrett at least sleep in my room?
Oh my
Um,
god.
and then she's like, fine, if you guys will just go to bed. So I remember being like, and you were like losing your mind. But I was like, I kind of gave you a look of like, I got this. It's like, okay, Grandma, I'll turn
Oh,
off the
like I
game.
was mad that I couldn't stay and watch or whatever.
No. She said that you could, but you were just like, how the crap are you gonna let her, turn off this game right now? Like
Uh,
we're watching the ending. Like this
gotcha.
is the worst thing in history if we have to turn this off right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got this. And then so Grandma was like, okay, uh, get get a sleeping bag, set up whatever. And so you were on the floor, and then I was in bed. And then she's like, good night, turns off the lights. She says, turn off the TV. Okay, so I turned off the TV. Okay,
Oh.
Grandma, you good? And then she left. And then I knew turning off the TV wouldn't turn off the game. So we missed like 10 seconds of the ending. But we turned it back on, and the volume kind of low, and just watched like the end of Final Fantasy 7 at volume like 1.
Oh my god, I
Um,
don't remember that at all.
in secret, because Grandma was like, you guys have to go to bed, you have school tomorrow, whatever. But yeah.
Oh man, that's so good.
Yeah.
Because I definitely remember playing it a lot in your room, but I did not remember that
Yeah.
that moment.
But because then and then I got Tekken 2 actual,
Yep.
then we'd play that. And just thinking of the chronology of all this, I remember because I got Tekken 3, and we
Mm,
played Tekken in my room. But then you won the aforementioned 52-inch TV.
yeah.
So it was just kind of like, okay, your TV and my PlayStation combined, let's put this together in the
Yeah.
basement. And then it kind of became less of a, hey, can I play your PlayStation? And just be like, the full package is, we're on the
Sure,
same
yeah.
level
And I
now.
was like not invading your room,
Yeah, no,
to
exactly,
play it,
exactly.
so it kind of like it was a good trade.
Yeah.
Um but I feel like it feels like ages that you had it in your room cuz
Oh
like
yeah.
I have
Yeah.
so many memories playing FF7, playing Tekken. Um God, the part in FF7 in like Northern Crater where you farm the magic pots.
Yep.
And
Yep.
like I just remember like when I hear that song from that area, I
Yeah.
just like am in your room
Yeah. No,
because it
totally.
feels like years that I was doing that.
And playing FF7 on that. And I remember when we went to Jacques, I remember it was like the picture and sound quality, because I remember he saved up for a long time to get a
Like a sound
40
system
40
and
or even just 42-inch TV,
oh
or,
sure.
or not even that. I feel like it was 38 or something. It wasn't anything huge, but I remember being like, look at the video quality. It's like, oh, he must be using the red, white, and yellow. It's like, no, he got an S video,
Oh
an
shit.
S video version, and we're just like, oh yeah, okay, Jacques is a job. And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, he got an S video cable for it. Okay, he means business.
Yeah.
Versus I had coaxial in the
No,
one in my room.
I think you had I thought I remember seeing the red, like, because it had them in the front, the yellow and white.
Yours did,
Or
or
maybe this was something later because we didn't really get the full sound. I mean, we wouldn't have got good sound quality on that TV anyway. But I
I'm
think we
pretty sure it was
discovered.
just coaxial.
You're
Yeah.
right, because we definitely discovered the red, white, and yellow cables when we got those speakers
Oh yeah. And
downstairs that we talked
and it
about.
wasn't to start. I remember we still used coaxial on the big TV, and then I vividly remember being like, "Oh man, this TV actually has the red, white, and yellow
Right. Yeah, that makes more
inputs."
sense.
These are things that I would just throw out every time we ever got a system, because it
Yeah.
never was any useful. Um, but then I remember doing that and playing Tekken, like Jin stage specifically in
Ah,
Tekken
that
3.
his theme
Um,
is still like forever burned in my brain.
and that with actual like stereo, I remember being like, okay, now the basement is game central. Big
Yeah.
TV, stereo sound.
And with
Yeah.
the PlayStation as well, it was like CD quality audio.
Yep.
So it like
Yep.
even was, more than what we would more of an impact than we were getting with like our N64, time.
Yep. But no, we played PlayStation in my room for a good chunk of its history.
Yeah.
Because all the Tekken 2 gaming that we did was there. I remember it was Tekken 3 was kind of the junction of. I remember playing Tekken 3 in my room a lot, and I remember playing it in the basement a lot. So
And
yeah,
playing
yeah.
Tekken Ball.
And yeah, Tekken Ball mode, and then that's the. Oh
What
man,
was
we could
was
go.
it a Tekken Force? Is that what
Yep,
the beat 'em up style was?
which was really fun and hard.
Yeah, I don't think I never beat it. I never
Um,
finished it
because you had to beat it like 3 times, and then on the fourth time you'd fight Dr. B, and if you beat him, then he was a playable
because
character.
we definitely had Dr. B because that
And
was Mike's favorite.
if I could go back in time, I would not have beaten it. I would say I'd rather a big question mark than give Mike the ability to play as Dr. B for the rest of our life. Oh, anyways, Dr. B was the downfall of Mike and normal characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was the start of him picking the weirdest character in every game.
Yeah, and just embracing it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a super quick break. I do have a couple more things I want to talk about regarding Tekken.
Yeah,
And
nice.
then we'll continue down the PlayStation 1 greatest hits list that we have.
Perfect. All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
See you soon.
Okay, let's get back into some Tekken talk.
Oh man. When you said we were going to talk about PlayStation, I didn't even clue into Tekken being part of that, which
Yeah.
is just my own
Well,
ignorance.
just because
So,
it's
yeah.
been like, it's been so like, it's been like part of our lifestyle for so long that you forget. Like, oh yeah, it's because we got a PlayStation that
Yeah,
is
no,
why
exactly.
it's so integrated.
That's exactly it. Like I don't think of Tekken as being a video game. That's just like
Sure,
you
yeah.
just play Tekken sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
you just Tekken. You just play
yeah.
Tekken.
Yeah.
And actually, before I even do that, there is one actually small thing I wanted to mention about FF7, because it's very relevant for playing it in your room.
Okay.
I don't know when the most recent time you've gone back and played OG7, but there's
A couple of years ago, but yeah, not too long ago.
okay.
Yeah.
So there's a materia in it called added cut.
Mhm.
And like that materia did not exist in our disc.
Really?
Because I mean it probably did, but you know
Yeah.
I'm being hyperbolic, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it just was a glitch in our disc, because the thing that made it hard is like it was in the snowy area
Okay.
where you have like the limited amount of time before you pass out.
Oh yeah.
And we had that like Brady Games guide or whatever.
Okay. Yes, now I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, we searched and it was just like, nope. Yeah,
Like
I remember it.
it
I followed.
feels like years that I was like, okay, I'm finding it this time. Like this has to exist.
Yeah.
And I because that was when it was in your room, and I remember going through that,
Yeah.
and I'd look at screenshots on that guide. I'm like, and I feel like it's in one of like the random areas or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
where it's
think
like go up, left,
yeah,
right, whatever.
and it's just
Yeah.
mashing X or whatever, and like, no, it does not exist. Never found it. I never found it in our copy of the game.
But in subsequent runs,
Yes.
you've found it. Yeah.
So I had picked up like the PC port a while back, and then I picked it up on PS4 because of course I'll buy that game like 6 times.
Yeah.
And so there was one point on Steam I was going for all the achievements, and it has more achievements on that version than trophies on PlayStation.
Okay.
Because like I think one of them is like learn every enemy skill, and I don't
Okay.
think that's a trophy on the PS4 port.
Oh man, that's a hard one.
Yeah, because there's some you miss. I think there's a
Yeah.
couple that you can just miss. So I
Yeah.
had to have like a guide open or whatever. I did it. I got all the achievements on the Steam version at some point. But so I can't remember if I had to go through this on the PS4 version, but I for sure on the Steam version, one of the trophies is like master every materia.
Yeah.
Which is like, I got magic pots. I'm good. I can do that. No
Yeah.
problem.
But it means you got to find this
But-
materia that doesn't exist as far as we know.
Yeah. So when I got to that area, I was like, oh shit, like,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
am I gonna be able to like, how do I get this materia? And I got it, and I was just like, it was just like this like wave of like
Like an accomplishment from childhood.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. It's like,
And
I can finally see what it does. Even though like I knew what it did, but I never saw it in action.
I think like I feel like like back then you couldn't check online and figure
Or at least
find a
we couldn't
walkthrough.
because we didn't really
Um,
have internet
but
reliably.
like I bet you that the whatever magazine we were looking at had a typo, and it was a typo that really mattered here because I feel like you got to go to that snowy area and go right one screen, up one screen, down two
Something like
screens or
that, yeah,
something. And
probably.
if it had a typo in there, it's like, well, then you
That's
how
my
can you?
only source of intel.
Yeah, exactly. It's one direct or not a typo, but like it says down instead of up, and it's like, well, if you don't know that, anyway, I blame it
Yeah.
on the magazine or whatever sort of walkthrough we had printed off of,
No, that one we had. It was like a
mm,
Brady Games or
yep.
Prima, one of those guys.
Oh man, if you
I
still had it, that'd be pretty amazing.
no,
Um,
I have the FF8 one.
oh, okay.
Yeah, the
But yeah,
7 one
no,
I couldn't find.
I remember it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like, yeah.
It had
I
like the
had,
box art as the
yep,
cover, and yeah,
yep, yep, yep.
yeah. I think that's how we knew about the magic pot and the W item glitch to get like infinite elixirs,
Yeah, that sounds like kind of um
like a strategy guide
a
nugget.
strategy guide not from the developer kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
still in every port I've played of 7. That you
Yep,
can
yep.
still do that glitch.
You got to be true to the source material,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So anyway, I just had to mention that that deserves a spotlight outside of our later multi-part FF7 discussion,
Yep. Yeah, agreed.
because it was very distinctly in your room that I remember like laboring over
Trying to
trying to find
find
this stupid thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Uh,
so a couple more things about Tekken. Where did we get our friggin' Tekken controller grip?
that's a good
Because
question.
I
Just so
don't know.
I actually didn't really remember that you hold it the same way I do.
Yeah.
Um,
So
uh,
for anyone listening, if you're not watching, I literally got a controller so I can show this.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wait, if a listener they can't see it, I'm gonna tell it and I'll explain it to listeners.
yeah, yeah.
So we rest the controller like the right handle
Hmm.
on our like lap on our
Yeah,
like on our leg, and I use my index and middle fingers to hit all 4 buttons, like
yeah,
almost like a as if it was an arcade stick, and then we just use the D-pad or whatever. But it
yeah.
like we don't hold it in our hand. It's resting on our leg, holding it with the left hand, and just tapping the buttons with our index and middle fingers. And
Yeah,
that's how we have always played Tekken.
and it's weird because our left-handed grip it's not a weird version of that either. It's a normal grip
Yeah,
on the left.
just holding the D-pad normally. Yeah.
Yeah, like just thumbs only for the D-pad, and then yeah, as Garrett described for the right hand. And yeah, I forgot that you do this as
Oh
well.
yeah,
And it makes like
always.
in newer versions of the game where you have to hit like R1 or anything. I have to completely kind of reach around the whole
So
thing.
for Tekken 7, because I think it's like the Rage Art or whatever,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
normally I put it to L1.
Oh, I should
So
do
I can
that. Yeah, that's a good call.
because I'm there's no way I'm hitting it, with my right hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
But anyways, okay, yeah. So I'm glad we have the same Tekken grip, and I bet you here's here's my thought. I bet you we like saw Jacques playing it at
probably.
I mean, sorry, he's part of this regardless.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think he controls it like that. I bet you we then saw him playing it at like the arcade, and we were
Mm,
like, oh man, I want to be as good as Jacques. I mean, the start of every sentence I had as a kid.
yeah.
I want to be as good as Jacques
I'm
at
gonna
Tekken.
see. I'm gonna try to reach out to him and if we could just like get him on to talk to him for
Oh
one episode
man,
or something. That would be so cool.
To see his
Anyway,
perspective would be mind blowing
yeah.
for a lot of things. But
Sorry,
anyways,
I didn't mean to
I
interrupt.
bet I bet you it was like I want to be as good as Jacques at this game, like at the arcade, and maybe I should kind of practice arcade style. I don't
Yeah,
have
that's
a joy.
probably
I don't have
yeah.
a joystick, but at least I can learn to play. Yeah, because if I go to the arcade and it's gonna be a weird, different grip, I won't be as good. So
Right.
That's probably my rationalization.
That makes sense. The weird thing is like, so I do play some other fighting games. Like I play some
Yep.
Street Fighter, and that's probably the main other fighting game I've played over the years. I'm trying to think if there's been others. I feel like there's been others. Like we played a little bit of Mortal Kombat growing up, but
Or a KI,
yeah,
it's
that's right. Yeah, I knew there was
yeah.
more. And like I don't play any of them like that.
No.
Every other fighting game I play, I hold like a normal controller grip.
Yeah, and even like Mortal Kombat has a similar kind of setup of what the buttons are, but nope, play that normally. Oh, Tekken grip.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not even good at using an arcade stick.
Yeah.
Like it's just that grip on a PlayStation controller is the only way. And I've tried. I've like there's one day I was just like maybe it was Tekken 7 was like maybe I should just learn so I can use the R1 to because I got to like that's part of
Yeah,
that game. And
yeah.
it's just like there's no effing way I'm playing this game like this.
Oh, it's unfathomable to me to try and do one of like Paul's 10-hit combo with my thumbs. No chance. I like my muscle memory
Yeah.
is like, three fingers kind
Or
of thing.
doing like the throws or whatever. Like I just have like the finger pattern down to do
Yeah,
all those things, and it's like
yeah,
when
yeah,
I think of like one of June's combos, I'm like mentally doing it by like doing my fingers that way,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, there's just I just can't. So and that's when I discovered like oh you can just put it on L1, perfect. That's all I need to do.
I got to do that because in every whenever we not play Tekken, whenever we Tekken,
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my god, and maybe this will change my game because I feel like I'm always like it's millisecond before you
Yeah,
on a radar.
just that to
Does
get that extra reach.
does Mike play it normally?
I think so. I don't think he does the grip.
Yeah, okay.
Normally is an
Sorry.
interesting word.
Yeah. So in this case, the weird thing is holding it normally. So Mike
Yeah.
probably needs it that way.
So I literally have a note down that says Mike's playing habits. Because so Mike is our cousin. We've mentioned his name a couple times. I actually live with him. I rented this basement out of his house, and we touched on it a little bit last week, and we'll give just a quick preview. But essentially, you know, every Sunday night since we
Yeah.
were in it was before high school. It definitely was like middle school, I feel
Oh
like.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say like maybe like grade 5 for you or something like that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
every Sunday night, you know, when we were younger, their dad, our uncle, would just I think they had like taekwondo in town or something
That's probably the
or
start of
cadets or something.
why they started coming over. Yeah, yeah.
So they would have one of those classes or whatever, like you know around you know early afternoon on Sundays or whatever, and then you know where they live is like geographically not far, but the road to get there is like super roundabout way back streets or back roads in the country and stuff.
Got like 20 minutes to downtown, cross a bridge, and then 20 minutes,
Yeah,
backwards. So over the river, they weren't that far, but
yeah, exactly.
and even now, like it was probably an hour drive. Like it seems like we were going again another country.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they come
So
over every Sunday.
so because they were in town already, we were only like maybe 10 minutes from where like downtown where they would be going to these classes. So like once they just you know our uncle decided to just bring them up, you know, for the evening and just a couple hours hanging out because we didn't really see each other that often because it was
Yeah,
just such a hassle, you know, to get there when we were younger anyway. Um and so like we ended up just playing a lot of all this to say we ended up playing a lot of multiplayer games together with them
yeah,
Sunday nights.
yeah.
And our cousin Mike has like the weirdest character. So it's the weirdest character picks is probably the biggest
Yeah.
anomaly of this whole thing.
That's the biggest Mike ism is just like, who's the weirdest character in this game?
Yeah.
So and so. Well, guess who Mike's favorite character is?
Yeah. And he'll like you know, when you get later to like Tekken Tag and you can like buy costumes for your character and stuff, he'll just pick like the weirdest combination of things to like I think his goal is to make you uncomfortable looking at the costume.
It's like his way of trolling you.
Yeah.
Like uh Garrett and I won't play, against each other for a while, and then will his character will come on screen like, oh man, that like cool outfit that you purchased or whatever, or like I'll have something, oh man, that's a really cool look for that character, and then Mike comes on and it's like, like the ridiculous stuff with like bubbles coming out of them, or like
Like
wings on such and
holding a
such character.
fish and fairy wings and
Yeah, with like pin like rainbow stripe suspenders or something, like it's just like, Mike, come on. Like it's like, oh, one thing of flair on someone, no, everything is just like
yeah.
ridiculous.
And like Mike is good at Tekken, so when he's beating you, when he's winning in
Yeah,
these outfits, it's just like it's just the worst feeling.
you're like, god damn it, like it adds that insult to injury. Or even like I remember, oh, this is so Mike, be like, oh, who's your favorite character in Tekken 3? And Mike says
Mokujin.
Mokujin. And it's like, come on. Like, Mike, that's not a real answer. Like, who's your actual favorite? No, Mokujin is my favorite character.
Mokujin is his quote, old reliable. Is what he calls it. So
My
anyone
RNG character is all reliable.
yeah. So if anyone doesn't know Tekken that well, Mokujin is like this. It's like one of those like kung fu like training dummy wooden statue things come to life, and he just every round, not even every match. So it's like 2-round game. Each of those 2 rounds, he will just be a different character. Like he looks at himself, but he'll do the stance and the fighting style or whatever.
And it's what makes it even more, not more random, but more difficult of a character. Like the fact that he switches character move sets every round means you have to be, good enough with, any number of any character.
Yeah.
But the sprite doesn't change at all, except it just their stance.
Yeah.
And
the
so
only one you know for sure is if he's Eddie.
Eddie. Yeah. Yeah. The others are very subtle. So a few smashes on the buttons, you could probably figure it out. But yeah, by stance alone, if you were Eddie, you knew who you were before the go, kind of prompt
before the match started.
Yeah.
And there was just one time we were playing Tekken Tag 2. We played a lot of that together just online.
Yeah.
And he was doing his Mokujin thing. I think Mokujin's in that game, right? Yeah, he must be. There's so many characters in that game. Yeah, he must be. Yeah, he is. I don't know why I wouldn't think he is. But he was playing either Mokujin or one of his insane costume Dr. B stupid characters. And he was just, it was just like not my night. Like I was losing over and over. And, we would play for, a few hours at a time. I think this was when we developed a rule between me and him that we have to say, okay, best of 3 and we're done. Because it would just we get salty if someone would beat the crap out of the other. I'm like, all right, well, I gotta go now. It's like, no, I need a chance to, let me try and redeem my, I didn't know this was the last one. I'm gonna really try now.
Yeah.
And there was one night he was just like destroying me. Like it was just not my night, and he was just I was being brutally beaten. And he's like, because we're on voice chat, and he's like, oh, this recipe for pumpkin pie looks pretty good. And I'm just like, Mike, if you're gonna destroy me at this game, at least pretend like you're trying or paying attention. I was so mad.
You remember? Yeah, no. I remember same thing. Bad night against Mike or whatever, and he's beating you. And then Mokujin, his winning stance was just like to the screen, and Mike would do it.
He would do it, yeah.
With the controller. I'm like,
he would sit there on the couch and do the little movements with them. Just like, God damn it, Mike.
Yeah, like, take this seriously. If you're going to beat me, you better be serious about it.
So he was just like looking at his iPad while beating the shit out of me, looking at recipes. I'm like, at least pretend like it's a challenge. God damn it. We didn't do a best of 3 that night. I was done. I was I'm done. That's it.
That was a rage quit. But okay, so like Tekken 2, like that was right when the like Virtua Fighter kind of era, and it was
The
like you're
3D
like,
like models and stuff. It was
yeah,
no longer like 2D sprites. Well,
oh man,
like there were still those games, but I think that's what drew us in a lot to Tekken.
yeah, oh yeah, and like just like Kazuya and like the devil, and you know, it was just like so Japanese.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yoshimitsu,
Yes.
Yoshimitsu, like it was just that was us. It was ninjas and samurais
Yeah.
and
It was playing to our. It was playing a very specific tune for us.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's funny going back and looking at it, like, you know, it holds up. It's the response time is a little rough, but the thing that strikes me is you jump like five
Tekken
stories
2.
in Tekken
Yeah.
2. Oh,
That
yeah.
I can't go back and play 2 again. I've tried like just I don't remember where I had seen it. It was
Eh,
like somewhere. I had seen it somewhere and is it on the classic or no, that's
no,
3.
that's three. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
But I just like I jumped once. I'm like, no,
No,
give me
no.
3. Let me play Tekken
Uh,
3, please.
but then three, I mean, three was a jump in like you know, that's pretty polished. That
Yeah,
still looks pretty good today,
yeah.
for
I
sure.
could easily still go and play Tekken 3 right now. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I would have a good time.
yeah. And I remember playing that in. Oh, this is actually awesome. Um, I remember like with school, we were gonna go on a field trip to Crystal Palace, essentially.
It was like at an indoor amusement park where we
Yeah,
live.
exactly. And so it was like a field trip for the morning, whatever, going to Crystal Palace. And it was like,
Oh, did
people
they have Tekken at the arcade?
they had Tekken 3 at the arcade. And it was like you could do one of two things. You could, you know, pay X amount, I think it was like $20, and you would get a bracelet and and $10 worth of quarters to play the arcades, or you could get like the super bracelet that would allow you on everything with
Right, with
nothing
all
for
the
the arcade.
rides and yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like you could go on all the rides or go on kind of some of the rides and have money for the games. And I was the only one who was like, can I just do games? Can I just have $20 worth of quarters? So I just played Tekken, like just like okay, and up against like teenagers that were there or whatever, and
So
like
this
you
was
know,
after we had, like after we had played, or would it be?
yeah, I think yes, it was after because we got that pretty early, like we got that at launch.
I feel like
Um,
yeah, we got that. Yeah, we got Tekken 3 very early on
mind
from
you,
when
the
it came out.
arcade came out before the PlayStation
True. Yeah, that's
game.
true.
But I think I had played it a bit to be like, I'm just gonna go there and play Tekken.
Yeah.
So I wish that like the story was like I was there and beating everyone, whatever. But no, like it's hard on the arcade.
Yeah.
And like I was completely out of quarters, like you know,
Like
40 minutes into it.
yeah.
And it, all like classmates are on the rides and all this stuff,
For
and I'm
the
just
like
like
whole morning.
yeah, so I like for hours just need to like roam around. It's like crap. I really didn't pace myself there. But
Oh, that's so funny.
anyways,
It's because we got the controller grip. We don't have the
yeah.
arcade grip. That's why.
Yeah, no, that's right, that's right. But no, Tekken 3 was so good.
Yeah.
The music, the all the endings were
Oh,
so polished.
and they're so
Yep.
funny.
Hmm.
Because like you beat the game for this like 20-second CG, and some of them were just so silly and like, but you know, for the time they did look like impressive to us for sure.
Yeah.
I just remember the one of like Yoshimitsu grabbing Dr. B and running away before that mouse like
Oh,
turns like grows and busts out of the the lab or whatever. That I just remember that one ending so well.
these have no narratives. Like they were just like a loose premise, not a sensible one.
Nope.
Just it's like
Just a
and
premise.
they had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
um, Paul or Law or one, it would just be a constant like, oh, they're gonna try and do a flip. Oh, yep, just with some sort
Yeah,
of
he
different.
failed.
Yeah,
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 at the
exactly.
end.
The end, yeah. Again, ball mode, force mode. Yeah,
So
yeah.
one other Tekken memory I have is for my birthday one year. Um, it was pretty soon after the PS2 was out.
Okay.
I did the whole. I asked if I could rent a PS2
Yeah, yeah.
for my birthday, like weekend or something.
Yeah, for
And
your
I think
birthday.
I feel like I had it for a week. I feel like it wasn't
Yeah.
just the weekend, but it was like we got it on like the Friday of my birthday for the weekend, and then we just had it for nights that week or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I rented a PS2, and I got Tekken Tag Tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I got like Armored Core and maybe one other game, but it was at least Armored Core and Tekken Tag. And Tekken Tag is what most of what got
Yeah.
played.
Yeah. And I remember Tekken Tag was Tekken 3, but with the tag mechanic, obviously. And I feel
Yeah.
like there were 4 characters in that one that were not in Tekken 3.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what they would have been, but there definitely was more
Yeah,
than
yeah.
the roster of 3.
Might have been like Kazuya or whatever,
I
but
wonder if I think June might have been in the first tag because she was not in 3.
and it's funny, like it's almost like tag is part of the canon, like
Yeah, if you ever deep dive on Tekken lore, it's got like the Guinness World Record of the longest running narrative of any game because they try to stitch them all together in one like like
big tapestry.
contextual no, this is they're telling a story still.
It's like,
And that
oh,
includes the tag games.
it's like Tekken Tag. It's just kind of a fan service offshoot. No, it has lore.
Yeah,
It has a
it's so
story.
wild.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, I love the kind of whole universe of
Yeah,
of all the Tekken lore because
same.
it doesn't take itself too seriously, I think.
Yeah, they're hammy and they kind of know that and they lean into it. But anyway, I just remember because we never really owned a PS2. I think that's around
Yeah,
when we were probably at high school at that point, and I had a GameCube, so I wasn't going to also be able to get a PS2
yeah.
because for me I wanted Smash Brothers, so that was my decision to
And I
go
think
that
part of it
route.
was like I felt like it was much more expensive
Yeah,
than the PlayStation was, and it felt like,
because it was also brand new, whereas we got the PlayStation much
several years in.
later, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a DVD player as well.
Yep.
So it was
Right
just more
during that
expensive.
era.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it was just like, well, I'm not that's unobtainable.
yeah,
And anyway, but yeah, we never had one. It's funny because now, like I got my PS3, my PS4, and my PS5, and then I have the PS Classic that you got me for Christmas, and I don't have a PS2, and
true.
it almost kind of is. I always think of it as like, oh man, I should complete the set. Nope, you know what? That wouldn't be true to my history.
Yeah,
So,
true.
yeah,
Yeah, if we want an accurate retelling of our, PlayStation background, yeah, we never had a PS2. We
yeah,
borrowed
no,
one, I think, from maybe Mike and Nick at some point. I remember borrowing one for a little bit, like maybe
yeah,
a month or something.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, we never owned one. But I just
But
remember renting it to play Tekken Tag.
yeah, no, exactly. For like a birthday thing,
Yeah,
that totally tracks.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, just kind of constant and the multiplayer just in its truest form, 4 kids in the basement,
yeah.
one on one, winner,
Winner
winner
stays
stays
on.
on.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Loser throws the controller, then begrudgingly picks it up
Yeah.
and gives it to the
As
next one
Mike
in
does
line.
his Mokujin winning pose
Yeah,
to taunt you.
exactly. Um,
Do you remember? I think it was because our love of Tekken that we got Soul Calibur
yeah, that definitely.
because it's Bandai Namco and it like looked and felt similar, but it was just weapons and like the fighting style was just a little different.
Yeah.
I think I play that game normal. I don't think I do the
Uh,
grip.
I yeah, I'd have to
I'd
start
have to play
playing
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure
yeah,
because the way because so like Tekken is like left arm,
punch.
right arm, left leg, right leg, and I don't know. Maybe that's just why it makes more sense for me to play that way. But
Yep.
Soul Calibur is like I think it's horizontal slash,
Yeah.
vertical hit, attack, kick, and block,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it's
Exactly.
like
I think I play it normally. I think I
yeah,
hold the controller normally for the reason that it's not directional.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember vividly when we bought. I think you bought it again. I remember being at the store because we were. It might have been around Christmas because our other cousins, Chris and Scott, were with us,
Okay.
and they were with us when we bought it. I don't. Maybe it was. My memory tells me it was Toys R Us, but it could be anywhere. But I believe they were here because we would have had your. We wouldn't have brought your PlayStation there, so it was. It was
Okay.
they were visiting us,
Yeah.
and I remember like them being like, "Oh, this game looks awesome," and me and you were so into Tekken at this point, and
Yeah.
I think we sought out this game because of our love of Tekken. Like I think we
Yeah.
went out, okay, we're getting Soul Calibur today, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, oh, this looks awesome, and I was like, you guys don't get to touch this game. We're like,
Yeah.
me and Matt are playing this game, like, or at least
All
first,
weekend.
it's like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
getting first crack at this game, and like, I don't remember. Maybe I chipped in for it to buy, like, help pay like Christmas money or something, and that's maybe why I was so adamant that. But as we've heard in stories of me and games in the last episode, I could have just had a real ego about it. I wanted to be the one to play it and not them. But I do think it was because of like our history with Tekken, and like they didn't
And it was
touch that
kind
game.
of like, you guys don't understand why we're so excited for this.
Yeah,
Like,
it's something like that. That's what
this
that's
isn't
what
a
memory
cool
serves.
looking game. This is a Bandai, Namco game, kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
and that game was a lot of fun too, because
Yep.
it was kind of similar. Anyway, it was resting on that kind of history and had some fun mechanics too. That
And
was
of
a
course,
fun game.
Mike played Valdo. Of
Yeah,
course.
of course. Yeah. Oh, sweet. You can get a third weird outfit by doing whatever. I'm gonna use that.
I'll play the blind guy that rolls around with claws for hands and
Makes
walks in a
sense.
really weird way. Yeah, that's Mike's character.
Yeah, no, exactly. And to this day, we're playing any game and there's like a super weird outfit or a super like strange kind of character style. It's just like, oh, there's Mike's favorite character. Like it in the alternate universe of this current one, Mike plays with like Ryu.
And he's only Ryu, and he plays like at a competitive level.
White gi.
Yeah,
Ryu.
default outfit. Yeah, exactly.
That's in the complete 180-degree alternate
Yeah,
timeline.
that's the multiverse, Mike.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, yeah, I just had to give Soul Calibur honorable mention because I do remember we played it a lot, but ultimately we would just go back to Tekken. And I did play. I had Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube because Link was in it in that version. And then I picked Soul Calibur back up. I think they're at 6 now. I think I picked up 5. And then I picked up 6 on sale, and like I'll bust that out once in a while. 2B is actually in Soul Calibur 6. She was like a guest character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, I like to dig that game up again and go through it. But
Something I totally forgot about with Tekken is that in Tekken 3, there was like team battle or whatever, and you could pick up to 8 characters. And I
Yeah.
remember being like, okay, I essentially need to get competent
With 8
at
people.
8 characters to kind of compete against Garrett, Mike, and Nick and Sunday evening
night tournaments.
And I think especially because that format forced us to not just pick the same character every time. So it was like, look, Mike, enough's enough with Dr. B.
Yeah.
We're playing team battle, so you
got to pick 7
8.
more.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that was like the deterrent or the reasoning behind it.
And then that just made him really good at Mokujin because then he played too many characters. He played a bunch of characters.
Our plan foiled, gloriously. But so like to this day, it's like that. Those 8 are my kind of core with every Tekken game. Like
I lost June in Tekken 3, but Jin had sort of like Kazuya plus June moveset. And it's like I could play him a lot. And he was a lot more like June then than he became. But then when they added Asuka, she's way more like June. And so I'll play her, and when I play tag, I'll play June, and then in 7 I would play a lot of Asuka, and then in the Tekken 8 trailer, June was there, so I get my girl back.
It's funny, like any so for me, if you play anyone in the Kazama
Yeah, you hate it.
family, I'm just like, God damn! It's like, oh, who's this? Like, who's this character? She seems cool. Oh, so and so Kazama. Oh crap! Like, Garrett's gonna be phenomenal with them, and it's gonna be in a really annoying way.
Yeah.
Whereas, like for me, what's your side of that?
Paul. Yeah, I'm terrified of when you break out Paul. Paul and not Lei. Oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? The Bruce Lee clone. Law.
Oh, Law.
Law.
Yeah.
I knew it was not Lei, but Law.
Yeah.
You used to be really good with. I mean, you maybe still are. I just don't remember the last time we played. You used to be scary with your king because you had all the throw. You had the throw combos down.
Yeah. And if I could remember some of that stuff, my muscle memory isn't quite as good with the king combo. I think I was making
he was
a very
lower on your
point.
He was lower on your like tier list of people.
I still like to break out king once in a while because sometimes it'll be just a total shutdown move. The biggest clothesline you've ever seen.
Yeah, and he goes, he's really hammy about, he does like a lot of taunts.
Yeah,
like in the middle of his moves and stuff or whatever, and
But no,
Paul for sure. Paul is who I'm afraid of. Yeah. And he's also an 8. There's shots of him there, so
it's funny too because it's not like it's like you've had Jun or Asuka and one version of Jin, and for me it's just like nope, Paul friggin' Phoenix.
Well, and to be fair, those 3 characters, the reason I play them is because their moveset is like I play Jin from 3 and Asuka because they are like June.
Oh, I know, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you at least have had a change of person.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sure. Whereas
so it's just like
hanging with Paul.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, June's not in it because whatever by the lore, she's in a volcano or something. So it's her daughter or mother or whatever. And me, it's just like, oh, who's gonna be? Paul still can't be in it. He must be a billion years old. Nope, just Paul Phoenix, same old Paul.
I think his hair is down now. I'm pretty sure in 8 he won't have the straight up hair. So there'll be a skin for it, probably.
There'll be a skin for it, yeah. And you gotta have his hair sticking out.
Yeah. There's got to be some growth, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk quickly about one more, and then we'll take one last break, maybe. God, I could talk about Tekken forever. We might do another Tekken episode.
Yeah.
So, which one do I want to talk about? This one will probably be quicker. We'll get in the other one after.
Yeah.
So, I know exactly what memory you will think of when I mention this game, but we did also play a decent amount of Resident Evil. I think. You tell me what you think.
You're gonna give me the rights to this story here. So it was. I'm pretty sure it was Resident Evil 2, but if it was Resident Evil 1, I can't quite remember.
The only reason why I think it's 1 is because I don't have an extended. I don't have memory of playing that for a long period of time.
And so,
whereas 2 we had for a while.
So we were playing it, and it may have even been it wasn't a demo version of it. It was the full version, like playing it at Dad's with Patrick.
It was the full version. The director's cut.
The director's cut. And our stepbrother Patrick was volatile.
He had a temper.
He had a temper, and we were playing, and something just scared the living crap out of him. Dogs or crows coming through the window.
Yeah. Any of the staple Resident Evil scares.
Yeah, and so Patrick, terrified, angry, terrified. That's it. Hits open disc, yanks it out of there, still spinning, opens the window, and throws the disc out the window as far as he could. And it was just like, we're both just like, what just happened? And then him F-bombs just like Nope. It's like, that's it. This is done. I hate that disc. It's done. What are we doing next? It's just, you just threw a full-on PlayStation game
and
out the window.
and at Dad's house, he lived in like a duplex in the city, so it's
Yeah.
not like we were out in the country. It's
Yeah.
like that was probably the neighbor found that in their yard.
Oh man, I'm just like, and again, we're just a couple of kids huddled in a room.
Yeah, this was like not even high school, I don't think.
No, and just like some popping chips, whatever, huddled around a not like a 13-inch screen, like it just nothing. Playing Resident Evil, all like
In the day, it wasn't even night.
It's too scary at nighttime. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Boom, out the window. Like, I guess we're playing the
demo disc
again.
maybe that's
the
why
end
we had so many hours on the demo disc, because he didn't have another game to play because he threw it out the window.
Patrick kept throwing our games out the window.
Now, was that our game? I feel like I would have remembered being more angry if it was ours. I
No,
think
that was his game.
Okay.
And
I don't think he would have done it if it was our game. I honestly don't think he would have. Well, or if he did, he would have bought us a new one.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, totally. But
He was
anyway,
good at directing his anger for our entertainment and not at us.
yeah, no, exactly.
He never unleashed it on us.
No, that's true. That's true.
Just his poor sister.
Or his mom or dad.
Literally anyone else in that house.
If
Or
it would get
his kid neighbor, his name
Yannick.
Remy or something.
Oh man, if it would get a chuckle, he would antagonize anyone.
Yeah, and when I say direct, it's like he didn't harm this kid, or he would just
No, just
yell stuff at him when he. Because I think they had a trampoline, and like this kid would sneak over and get on, and he'd be like, Remy, get out of here, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would antagonize anyone for a laugh from us. We were a good audience.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, but yeah, throwing Resident Evil 1 out the window, classic.
This has nothing to do with game stories.
Yeah.
But to give an idea of what he would do to get a laugh out of us, his sister Nicole, who's our stepsister, she was just sitting in like the kitchen or something. And I just remember she because she said something, like she would mouth off to him, so like they evened out. Like, you know, she would yell at him and then he would antagonize her. And she said something, like called him stupid or something.
Yeah.
And he just like, okay, walks up, goes and grabbed an egg, and she was just sitting there reading a book and just right on her head.
Like, it'd be out of nowhere. Everything he did was just completely out of the blue.
Oh my
It would
God.
make no sense.
Anyway, that had nothing to do with games, but I just like to paint a picture of how quickly he would go from 0 to 10.
Yeah.
That's what
And
he would do.
oh man, just throwing that game out the window. I'll never forget it. That was just so classic.
So I don't remember if we talked him into getting that game because we had Resident Evil 2, or if we played it there and then we eventually got to whatever the timeline for that. I don't remember,
It's
but
fuzzy,
we for sure had Resident Evil 2 and played a lot of that.
And I couldn't remember if he threw that out the window or Resident Evil 1, but no,
because we
more
have a
sense.
longer memory of 2, that disc was fine.
Yeah, exactly.
That disc was not ejected. But so, I mean, just like, I couldn't play that game either alone or at night because I was too scared.
Oh man, and like especially, I feel like playing that was in the basement. That wasn't in my room.
So
or maybe half and half.
Yeah, because one memory I have is, and I would just not be able to do it from a skill perspective, but also B, couldn't do it by myself.
Yeah.
Where I was so mind boggled that, because like I think one of you, if you beat the game under like 3 hours, you get like a rocket launcher with infinite ammo or some bonus gun like that or whatever. Yeah. And I was so like, what? Like how it takes me like 10 hours to beat this game.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and like it's like it was under so many hours, and you had to get a certain rank, and to get a high rank in that original game, I think you had to like use herbs, not first aid sprays, and you could only save so many times or
yeah.
something combination
10
of those.
times or something. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I'm just like, so I remember there's such a weird like correlation I have in my head of this. So I hope you don't mind me saying this, but like you played the fiddle,
Yeah,
as an instrument when we were growing up, and you would have
yeah,
lessons. You go to
yeah,
fiddle lessons. It was like Thursday nights or something, and
yeah,
you'd generally be gone for like 2 to 3 hours because it was
yep.
across town, and mom would do groceries or something while we did it. And I remember thinking like, man, I would have to beat this before he gets back from fiddle practice. And I would like try it a couple times, and I'm
Yeah,
like, an hour and a half in, and I'm like, just, I'm like
barely in a
barely
police station, yeah, or
right.
something. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. I'm like, what the hell? How did you beat this game so fast? And I just remember I had like, that was like my measure of time. Like, that's how fast I had to beat it to get this challenges. I would have to start when you go for fiddle lessons and finish
yeah.
before you get back. It's such a
Amazing.
weird, I don't know why, but I
Metric
remember.
unit of time.
Yeah, yeah, one fiddle lesson worth of Resident Evil 2.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even still, I feel like the remake has a similar like beat it in X amount of time.
Yeah.
And anyway, I know I feel like it is more obtainable than what it seemed like as kids, but still, it's like speed run levels.
Yeah, I definitely could still not do it, but
Hmm.
it seemed way more impossible because like I couldn't just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's how you do it. Like I was like, I'm trying to conceive of a world where this can be done, and I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
I don't understand.
It's like I can't do it. My brother can't do it. Well, that's all the metric. That's all. Those are the two.
Yeah, then it can't be
bookends.
done.
Yeah. Neither of us can do it. How much better can everyone else in the world be, than us at video games?
Yeah.
Can't be that much more ridiculous. Um,
Yeah. Oh man. So, but I remember playing through two a lot, and so when two remake came out a couple years ago, it was like it was
oh yeah,
an instant buy for me, and I was like, it will take me a while to beat this because I can only play it for 20 minutes at a time.
yeah.
But I love that game. That remake is just, it's so good, and it only was as satisfying to me because two was the one we played the most of. We didn't
Yeah.
play three very much. I don't remember.
We
I
kind
don't
of
even
like
think we
just
owned it.
no. We played it, probably rented it or borrowed it from someone, and
Yeah,
then that was about the extent. I never played four or anything after that,
yeah.
but yeah, two we just played so much, and just because that was a groundbreaking genre for me because like that was just like actual scary.
Yeah, I don't think I can remember a game outside of that or earlier than that that we played that was like genuinely like terrifying.
And even like some of the scary movies that we would watch weren't actually scary. Like maybe
Yeah.
a little jump scary, but that was like terror.
Uh, yeah.
Suspense.
It
Yeah.
was absolutely just horror, like, the like zombies come like crawling through the window, and you're, like out of ammo, and like just, yeah, it's they there are like hours and hours of videos of people talking about why it's so good at what it does, and I mean that
Yeah.
there's a reason why it still holds
Oh,
up, and why it translated so well in the when they remade it, because a lot of the original people, I believe, like worked on the remake, and
yeah.
people who played it as kids and liked the original worked on the remake. So yeah,
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
yeah,
And I mean, and the remake. Oh, like again, playing in the basement, not with you this time around, but still just like needing to shut down. Like, nope, too scared.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm an adult man, and I'm very. It's like, and I have to turn this video game off because I'm too scared. Like,
Yeah.
this is not the kid version of me. It's an adult version of me. But yeah,
So
no,
yeah, so
still,
good.
because anyway. Mr. X like chasing you around, whatever. Like, nope, can't do this. Nope, I'm gonna have nightmares for a week if I keep playing this. I'll play this in the daytime. Good night. See you later.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm 100% done right now.
Oh man, I want to talk about one more before we Yeah, we've been going for a bit since our last break, right? I don't remember when we
Yeah,
took a
yeah.
break. Okay, we'll talk about this, and one more break, and then I got maybe one or two more, and then
Okay.
we'll end there. So I was gonna try and keep it on like the lower end of the length, but there's just so much to talk about, and I
No,
want to talk about
perfect.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about Castlevania, because that is one
Oh, nice.
that I have vivid memories of playing that over and over. So we for sure owned that game.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and I don't. Again, I don't. This is in the age where it could have been you buying it, or I don't remember if it was a gift or whatever. But I know we for sure owned a copy of that game.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember I got it quite literally because in Metal Gear Solid, when Psycho Mantis like reads your memory
Mm.
card, if you had any
Yep.
Konami games on your memory card, he would like
Is
say
that why
something
you
about
got
that. That I get Castlevania or like, and then I read like online like what are some Konami games, and then I saw it at Toys R Us, and it was like with the green like classic
Yeah,
game,
the
whatever.
greatest
And it
hits
was
or whatever. Yeah.
greatest hits. It was $20. So I was like, oh man,
Oh
this
wow.
is a Konami game. Castlevania, sure, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, because we didn't really play the like NES or SNES Castlevanias at all.
Exactly. So it was just like, oh, it's a Konami game. What game is it? I don't care. I just want a Konami game for this
Yeah.
Easter egg in Metal Gear Solid. And then it was like, oh man, this is a like a totally badass game. And that
Yeah.
was the Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And like the because that was one of the earliest like Metroidvania.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
what I think that game. That's definitely the first Castlevania game that took on that sort of game design.
yeah. Oh yeah,
So it's
yeah,
got to be the origin of that term because it is one of it's the first one that
yeah.
took what Metroid did and put it in their game.
Oh man, it's just awesome. Like,
Yeah,
experience for kind of
yeah.
side scrolling, whatever. And
And there's a
uh,
lot of secrets.
yeah.
The whole upside down castle. I don't even know how we like found out about that. Probably in a magazine or something. But
Oh yeah, because that's like,
you have to like get like the good ending. You have to get an
yeah,
item that lets you see the thing that's mind
or
controlling
yeah,
Richter, and then
yeah.
kill that instead of killing him.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, just a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack was
Oh
awesome.
yeah,
Um,
that was
but
so good.
get a single scratch in your disc somewhere, and
Yeah.
then a whole
Oh,
part of a
I
soundtrack.
think I think that's one we lent to Mike and Nick, and it came back mutilated.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because
Because
it
when they
was
brought it back, it was just like, oh, I just threw it in my backpack.
yeah,
No disc or no jewel case or anything.
yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, I have that is like my favorite game in that series by far because of there was like one weapon you could get. I do not remember the name of it, but it was like a sword that slashed like 20 times in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
second, and it's like a rare drop. I remember. I think I watched I don't know if it was GDQ or just a stream where they were like, I think it was just a stream, and they were like, I'm gonna get this. No, it was GDQ, and I think it was like an incentive to get that
Oh,
weapon,
okay.
and
Nice.
so he knows the spot to like do it as fast as possible, like run and kill, run and kill, run and kill,
Yeah.
and I again. I feel like it took me hours and hours and hours to get that. And then when I got it, it was kind of a letdown because literally everything, including bosses, just died in a second. And I was like,
Yeah.
this isn't fun. Like, I don't want that big of a power fantasy.
Yeah. Um, and I do remember like just backstepping through the entire game.
Yeah.
Like that.
The sound of his backdash or whatever. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's still like one of the speedrun strats. I think they do weirder stuff with like transformations and things, but
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
backdashing was just
Yeah.
that's all you did.
I was like, I don't think I ever used it to like parry or dodge.
No, I don't even think I knew it was a dodge. Like I was like, that's weird that the boost goes backwards. Whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, so unless you have more to talk about that game, we can go to a break. But
No,
I
I
didn't
think
have
like
as much to say about it, but I just remember we had that and we played the shit out of it.
It fits into the tapestry, right? Because it was the Metal Gear Solid
Yeah, I didn't. That's actually
incentive.
really cool. I didn't know like that's why we got that game is because you wanted to see what Psycho Manus would say about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and it was like, oh man, this is an awesome game, and finding out then Metroid style, wanting to fill in every
All the map and everything.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The soundtrack was great. Oh, that game was awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a really cool reason why we got it. I did not know that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
glad I asked.
and then I remember again, it was harder to find these kind of Easter eggs because it wasn't like there was an FAQ online immediately, but like if you put that disc in a CD player, there was like a secret track,
Oh, you're
and it
right.
was just like some like techno remix of some
Yeah.
Castlevania track,
Yeah, I
whatever.
remember that.
Yeah, um,
Yeah.
and it was like Alucard was just like, "Why did you put this in a CD player?" It's like it's a PlayStation Black disc, but you're probably not gonna listen to me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so random.
I'm gonna see if I can find that.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's even like a YouTube
I'm
video.
sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, it's classic.
That's so
Uh,
good.
but okay, cool. That's a good spot for a break, and
Yeah. And then
yeah.
I got two more things, and then we'll end there.
Okay, sounds
After
good.
that. Okay.
I'll see you in a minute.
Yep. Okay, we're back. So couple last PlayStation memories I want to touch on. And then I got Matt's Platts I still want to talk about
Oh,
today.
nice.
I got another one I want to ask you about. Um, so we'll start with Parasite Eve. I want to talk about that.
Oh man, I was hoping you were talking about Parasite.
So I know my knowledge of why we got this game, and I believe we owned this game because I remember playing it for an extended period of time.
Yeah,
Because I feel like I
definitely
did.
owned it.
I feel like I did all the extra stuff in that game, which took
Yeah.
forever. So that's why I'm just assuming we had it for a long time.
Yeah, no, we definitely owned it. Yeah.
And my knowledge of why we had this game was because we loved Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
and we had a newfound love of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
we were
exactly.
like, this kind of feels like both of those things together in a way.
Square or SquareSoft, whatever, making like Resident Evil clone, like sign me up. I remember
With
being
like turn-based,
super.
and it was like turn-based
Oh
battles.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I can still like hear the noises from from Parasite Eve. Like,
And thinking about it too, it's like it's very FF7 remake
yeah,
esque.
yeah,
No, that's not true because you can't attack in between. You can dodge, and you wait for your bar to fill up, and then you could do action. So yeah,
yeah.
I forgot you couldn't attack in between.
But yeah, you at least kind of could dodge. It was like Resident Evil dodging of stuff until it came time to do something.
Yeah, then it would like
yeah,
pause. You pick your actions
yeah.
or shots, or you had like I
Different
forget what their
guns.
version of magic was. It was like
Yeah,
psionic powers or whatever.
Man, that was a good game.
Yeah,
Music
I have
was-
it. I have it on my. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you go ahead.
I have it on my PS3,
Mm.
like from like the PlayStation Store, like PS1 Classics or whatever.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
just been on my backlog forever. I bought it like in like 2012 or something, and I was like, I need to just sit and play it, but I just never make the time to do it.
Were there rumors of a remake happening for it or something?
So
or
I heard that. The reason why I don't think it will happen is I remember reading that the story of that game was sort of based off like a book that was written. So
Okay.
it's like a licensing nightmare to like
Fair.
redo that game because of whatever royalties or I don't know. I'm pretty sure if it doesn't happen, it's because the story is based on some book that they don't have the license to or something.
No kind of speculation or anything, but that would be pretty cool. But that game was beautiful. I remember like the thing, like the first opening FMV of just like some like opera singer and like everyone like bursting into flames, like melting, and it was just like, what is that? Like this game is crazy.
And I believe it was between, or I'm pretty sure it was between FF7 and FF8. So because they the in-game models were like realistic proportions. What
Yeah, yeah,
8, became versus
yeah,
seven's little silly, the infamous meme of those weird bodies they had in seven.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was that jump to be like, oh, like this is what 3D models look like in an
Yeah, yeah.
RPG.
Yep. No, totally. And like, oh, PlayStation, doesn't need to be. Even Tekken was kind of blocky like that, and
Yeah.
sorry, Tekken 2. Um, but I vividly remember like Christmas one year where like you would never be able to sleep ever, like sleeping Christmas Eve,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, right, no chance, like you'll be up all night essentially, and you were playing Parasite Eve
Yep.
as like you're gotta do something,
I'll play this
playing,
till I get tired or whatever.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then like that would, and whether that would happen or not,
Yeah.
I don't know,
It
but
probably happened for maybe an hour or two.
yeah,
So,
exactly. But
not
I
much.
remember you playing Parasite Eve as a means to try and get to sleep for Christmas.
Yeah. Ocarina of Time was that for was another one I would do that for.
Yeah.
And I would like get to the fire temple on a new game. Like, all right, I guess I could go to bed now.
Nice. Yeah. Then you're finally kind of
Tired
getting
enough.
tired enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So one thing I remember about that game is I obsessively like went on these like lore deep dives about, I think it was called mitochondria or something. Is that what it's
Yep.
called? Because
Yep.
like
Yep. Yep.
that
An
term is a
actual.
real thing.
Yep.
Something in biology or whatever.
Yep.
They obviously took some heavy liberties with how it caused people to burst into flames
Yeah.
and whatever. But I remember just like deep diving because we would have had internet at this point, I suppose.
Yeah.
And just like I don't remember what I learned, but I remember learning a lot about
And
it.
that, yeah, just kind of that whole part of the first 2 seconds of the game being curious enough to go into a science deep dive, biology deep dive about what
Yeah,
did mitochondria
because
do.
they had like
Yeah.
long extended lore dumps,
Hmm.
in the game
Hmm.
about it, and like it was just I found it so interesting. Like the narrative of that game was just so
Yeah.
interesting that I wanted to like. I think it's because it was a real word. Like I knew that word, or maybe I was like, "Man, does this like what is mitochondria?" And like, oh, it's a thing. It's not just
Yeah.
a game thing. Like maybe
Yeah.
that's why what triggered this
Yep.
like investigative instinct I had.
And like it like was part of the narrative, the whole story, and then like you ultimately, oh, and it got so crazy, like it was just like some, like the Chrysler building or the Empire State Building or something like that, and just some massive ooze something or other, like,
Yeah,
oh, that game was crazy.
I truly need to make room to do like to run back because I have it. It's right there. I can
Yeah,
play
yeah,
it.
yeah. Oh man.
But I just got to make the time. Because yeah, I have so many good memories of that game. It was so fun.
I do you remember this? So I remember our so I guess our stepbrother Claude, one of our another character here, his kids, Preston and Sean, um, they were over and I was playing Parasite Eve, and they wanted to play as well. And so in my mind, I said, okay, I want to find out how much time before you guys are leaving so that then I'll play for a third of it, and then Preston will play for a third, and Sean will play for a third. So
Okay.
I needed to know like how much time do we have that I need to divide in threes. But the way I verbalized that was like, I was like, okay, so how long are you guys gonna be here? And then so Preston goes upstairs, and I find out after that Preston says to like Claude, his dad, Matt wants to know how much longer we're gonna be here for. And then so Claude was like, oh crap, we'll get the kids out of the get
Oh
Matt and get
no.
upstairs. And then so he comes out, I was like, well, we're gonna be leaving in a half an hour. So I was like, okay, I'll play for 10 minutes, you'll play for 10, and then Sean can play for 10. And after Mom was like, what the hell are you doing? Like you're like asking Preston, like, when the hell are you guys leaving here? Like, are you guys leaving already? And I was like, no, I was honestly just trying to
Trying to
figure
make
out.
it fair.
I want to make it fair. I want to give him a chance to play. I felt so bad. It was like, Matt wanted to know when we're leaving. but it was
Uh,
Parasite Eve, and it was like the Chrysler Building, where like 10 flights of X enemies. And anyway,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
remember that story.
Well, I barely remember anything about that dungeon, but I
Mhm.
remember it was super long and super hard, and I only did it once.
Yep,
And I'm
yep.
like, I'm never doing that again. But I
Yeah,
don't
it was
remember
hard.
what the extent of it was, other than just that it was like, yeah, like a dungeon crawl almost.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it was 100 floors and
Yeah,
10 floors of one enemy and 10 floors of another. And
I feel like
yeah,
I had a guide that I was like prepping to go through this dungeon or whatever, and I eventually did it, but I never wanted to do it again.
no, no, God.
Yeah,
But that was an awesome game.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the FMVs were like right in between seven and FF7 and FF8
Oh,
quality wise. Like you can kind of see the evolution of their technology. If you slot that right in the middle, I think it makes perfect sense
yeah,
of
it's a
when it
nice
came out.
midpoint between those two,
Yeah,
for sure, for
I
sure.
think anyway. I'm pretty sure it came out in between the two of them, but
Yeah, that
I
sounds right.
could be fact checked on that. But um, so with so Parasite Eve staying in the JRPG territory,
Yeah.
Xenogears.
Oh, God, man. Oh, like, I got Xenogears and Metal Gear Solid the same Christmas.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's right.
yep, yep. And
I remember like very distinctly going between those two games.
because I remember getting them both and being like, because Xenogears, a demo disc. That's the only kind of reason I knew about Xenogears because it was a demo disc play. Might have been
Oh,
even
it didn't
on
have a demo disc, but we had played a demo of it
yeah,
on a
that's
disc.
yeah, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So Metal Gear Solid demo disc, Xenogears demo disc.
Okay,
Um,
that makes
played
sense.
played them both, loved them both, and it was like so I needed Metal Gear Solid. That was like a Santa gift,
Yeah,
essentially. And it's like, oh, Xenogears too, because I that seemed like a fun-ish
and
game and made by Square, so I
yeah,
was
I
like,
think we knew
sure,
at that point like SquareSoft, like RPGs, we knew we liked.
yep.
So yeah, that was an easy sell for us.
And it was like, oh yeah, so I'll throw that on my Christmas list as well, and then got both. And I remember being like, oh yeah, Xenogears. Anyway, Metal Gear Solid,
Yeah.
and then like played Metal Gear Solid like crazy. And then I remember playing Xenogears, getting through, and this did not follow the story that we told earlier of like, oh, I just want to play that first level a
Yeah,
thousand times. We got through like, oh man, yeah, okay, this game now I can actually learn
like
more
really
more of the
opens up.
moves and the combos and stuff. And then I vividly remember thinking at one point, like, I think I like this game more than Metal Gear Solid. It's like, and Metal Gear Solid was my prize of that Christmas, but I was like, oh
Yeah,
man, Xenogears, this it's like Metal Gear Solid taking second fiddle to this now. So
yeah.
yeah, that was and that game is long. All the combo learning was really interesting.
And just like the fighting style, like gameplay style change between like fighting like
Mm.
on foot, like in person versus
Or
like the mech
in the
fighting.
gears. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that and that story is also crazy. I remember
I
not
don't
understanding a
Yeah.
word of it the
I was
first
like,
time.
don't ask me to tell you what happens because I don't remember because it
And
was so just out there and insane.
the,
Uh,
the first opening FMV is like some spaceship being taken over by like some almost like an AI or something.
right.
And then which is nothing to do with it. Then you're Faye in a
In a little
village or whatever.
farm, like
Yeah.
like a little
Um,
peasant guy or whatever.
but it all kind of anyway, it's a pretty insane story, but I remember it's also super confusing.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
wars between yeah, anyway, good
well,
game.
so that is another one that I have on my PS3 that I bought, and I was like, I need to just like go live through that game again. But for one, I know it's super long.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but one thing that we'll talk about on another episode is so one of my favorite RPG series now
Hmm.
is Xenoblade,
Okay.
Xenoblade Chronicles to be more specific,
Yeah.
and there is some kind of line that connects like not story wise necessarily but like some of the developers or something. Like there's
Yeah.
it's not called Xeno something by coincidence. Like there is some
Yeah.
relation there. And it's like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out this year, and it's like you can tell the whoever it was that worked on Xenogears that just
Yeah.
loved mechs is
Yeah.
he still there? Because it's like super abbreviated story recap of
Yeah.
what how this happens, but you're like there's like these two queens of opposing factions. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert, I guess, if anyone is currently playing through Xenoblade 3. There's these two queens of like these warring factions, and they have these massive like floating castles or whatever, and all this stuff happens. Long story short, their castles turn into giant mechs during the final act of the game or whatever. And that's just,
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. I'm like, there's such a Xeno thing that there's like,
Yeah.
of course this is a giant mech fight at the end. And so it's
Oh
like
man.
whoever is the guy in there that loved mech so much making Xenogears, he's still got some influence somewhere, I think, because
He's still
clearly,
playing the same game.
yeah. And all three of them have like a lot of mech sort of storyline. They're very integral. Two, I can't remember if it has as much, but 1 and 3 have a ton of mech stuff in it. So we'll talk about that. I'll tell you all about those games later.
Oh man, amazing.
But it's definitely like that seed of that was planted about my love of like Xenogears that made that an easy sell for me when I realized that there's some correlation between the people who made them.
And I remember going into some YouTube videos just to be like, what the hell is this story even about?
Sure.
I remember it was like originally kind of like the FF's like gonna be FF7, like it was kind of when it was in development, but then they wanted something different and kind of pivoted away.
I don't remember the details, but it was definitely that sounds familiar. Something like that. I can't
spiritual
remember.
successor to FF6 or something, and then kind of anyway. So it and I remember being like, this game's long.
Yeah.
Like that was the first like really long game.
They also have not changed that.
Yeah.
All 3 Xenoblade games took me like 90 hours to finish.
And I remember like the music was awesome. Anyway, classic.
So okay, maybe we're about to say the same thing.
You tell it, and if it's because if it is the same thing, you should get the the rights on this one. So
we would play this game for a long time, get pretty far.
Yeah,
we'd get to disc 2.
Yep.
And there would be some cutscene pretty early on that second disc.
Yep.
Nothing would happen.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And
I think it just went to like black screen. I don't think it like errored out or crashed. It just hung at a black screen or something.
Yep, music still playing.
Right, and you'd hear the disc
just
like
trying,
yeah.
clicking, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was not scratched. Like it was perfect.
Brand new.
Yeah. And
do you remember what we tried to get it to work?
No. Did we like try to set like a disc cleaning service at Jomo Video, whatever?
We did try that, yeah. Even though we were convinced that like there's no way it wasn't scratched, like we didn't understand it. Yeah. We're like, we'll try anything.
Something else comes to mind, but anyway, you go first.
So we definitely tried turning the PlayStation upside down.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, no, that's a classic one. Yeah.
We also tried just balancing it on its side because we thought that might work.
Yeah.
Or maybe we like heard that might help or something.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we tried like opening and closing the lid as the cutscene would start or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was any individual one thing we tried that it worked, but one time it just happened to like go forward.
Yeah. So I think we also tried like trying to like trick it to like throw the first disc in there and maybe it'll load something.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Move along. No, that didn't work. No,
of course that wouldn't work.
Like no, of course not. Like what's it
so dumb.
That's so dumb. It's just like it's just the music. It's trying to load. Anyway, no, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But no, This is literally what happened. I'm surprised you don't remember this.
No.
Um,
I think
we
the memory of it finally working
Nope.
has scrubbed out any other, tribulations we had with it.
So I um wrote to Squaresoft saying, look, I'm playing this game. There's no scratch on it. It's X scene where Faye whatever, and um, and it just hangs, and I hear the PlayStation clicking, like like dear Squaresoft.
Handwritten.
Yeah. Found their address somehow and like sent this letter,
Did
and
they
then
send us another disc?
like months later, no reply, no reply, no reply, and then I'm just like, why isn't Squaresoft answering my letter? And so I was like, screw this. I took disc 2 and sent it to them with another handwritten letter. Dear Squaresoft, you may have received my first letter. Um, but if you remember, I'm Matthew Zamora.
Listen, I play a lot of Final Fantasy games. Okay, you got a customer here.
I get to the point where Faye is whatever, and there's a huge lore dump. And da 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 da. Please fix my disc. And sent it off, and then months later, we just get a full-on like jewel case, 2 discs, new game. Like not
wow, I don't
not,
remember this.
not just like disc 2. It was just like, just send this kid. Grab one off the shelf and send it to him. And then put it in, and then it went through fine. And we had 2 jewel cases, but only 2 disc ones, and only 1 functional.
Oh my god, I have. I don't know if I still have it. I may have gotten rid of it. I had for a long time a Xenogears case, and it only had disc 1 in it. And I was just like, oh, we lost this too. Damn.
No, it's because I sent that one to Squaresoft. And then we made it through. And I remember like doing that, playing it, and getting through this stupid little scene. And like seconds later, I was just like, she just rented it instead of going through all that. I was just like, oh man, that would have been a smart thing to do.
Well, I think before, like, obviously, I'm just speculating now because I don't remember this, but looking at it now, we probably didn't really know if it was the disc at first. We maybe thought it was our PlayStation. That's why we were like flipping it upside down and doing all that other weird shit.
I guess maybe that's in hindsight. Like, just
once we realized the disc worked, then that's probably why you thought. But still, it would have worked.
A bit better.
It would have been a good solution.
Oh man,
that is amazing. Hey, I mean, we just have a very genuine relationship with this company for our whole lives. Like, you wrote them a handwritten letter to get your disc replay. Like,
that credit, they fixed the problem. That's for sure.
They hooked us for life in more ways than one, I guess.
There's a customer service lifelong story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll send them this clip. Be like, hey, thanks for doing this when we were like 10 years old.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, no, that's why you have a disc 2-less copy of Xenogears.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's so funny. Because
we
I just remember it working, but I didn't remember all that as to what actually ended up fixing it.
And kind of ironic, we weren't the ones throwing discs out the window.
Right.
We took care of our games. Yeah, we get a defective one.
Yeah. One with no added cut materia and a second disc that didn't play the goddamn cutscene.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm so glad you had that story. I did not remember that at all. That's so funny.
But no, that Xenogears was, we got that and Metal Gear Solid. I
definitely have a memory of them, like going back and forth, like between them. Like, I can. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that was such a good PS. we might talk more about it next time. I
Yeah,
love we have a lot of PS1 memories. I think we'll talk more about games specifically, in later episodes. But this was
yeah,
a good recap of because by that point, into like Tekken 3, FF8, which we'll talk about in its own episode.
yeah,
That was when we were getting to high school, and
yeah,
that was sort of the end of our like collective gaming memories in the house that we like grew up with or whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that
But
was that was
no,
fun.
that was a good overview of the PS1 era for
Yeah,
sure.
I
Yeah,
think we touched all the important highlights.
yeah,
So to stay sort of on theme, for this episode's edition of Matt's Plats,
yeah.
and if anyone is new, so my brother Matt has a lot of dedication when he decides to go after a platinum trophy. uh, I look at his trophy list sometimes, and I'm like, oh my god, he got that. He went for that one. So Matt's Plats is I want to get some horror stories or big win stories that you can think of for a specific game. We talked
Yeah.
about your Mega Man X collection platinums last week, which is still so funny to me. Like
And
some of the trophies, not funny that you got it, funny what they get you to do to get a trophy.
I kind of need to fact check myself a little bit because I know that like um with charging up Boomer Quanger's thing, I think it's on Flame Mammoth, not Launch Octopus. The where you cut off his nose.
Okay,
Um,
sure. I mean,
and
still just as
it's
random
the
and
same
obscure.
story. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
literally that's the you
Just
can
different
replace.
boss.
Yeah, but so I think that was the trophy was to cut off his nose, and I think you might still do that to the Launch Octopus, but I don't think there's a trophy associated with it. But
Gotcha.
anyway,
Okay.
still same concept.
Still, yeah, close enough that
Yeah,
no one's gonna be writing us letters.
yeah.
Uh,
Dear Zamora Two Player Podcast.
so to stay sort of on theme with the PS1 topics,
Yeah,
you not too long ago you got the platinum on Metal Gear Solid 5.
yeah,
And you've told me just when we had our talks, before we started doing this podcast, you told me some stuff about it, but take like, you know, 5-10 minutes or whatever, and tell me because that must have been a grind.
Oh man! But the thing was, I loved that game, so it
Sure,
didn't even
yeah, a
feel
grind,
like a grind.
right?
Um,
Like maybe grind's the wrong word, but it was definitely an undertaking.
yeah. Oh yeah. And there's like complete every mission with S rank, and kind of stuff like that. And I'd have to like look up like, okay, what's the strat here?
Sure.
Because there's no way I'm gonna figure out all this.
What gives
Um,
you like a higher rank? Is it like not being seen or like
yeah.
time or kind of combination?
Yeah, I think it was like time, not being seen, and no kills. I think you just needed a score that got you to a certain point,
Okay.
and like the only real conceivable ways to achieve this, were like, don't be seen, don't kill anyone, do it fast. That like if you can do that, then it's
Like
not
do
like you
it,
need to
yeah,
be.
like kind of do it clean, whatever the
Yeah,
mission is asking.
yeah,
Also,
exactly.
by the way,
Um,
I meant to tell you this is what I was going to be asking you about. So I totally am putting you on in the hot seat. I forgot to
oh
give you a heads up about this.
no, no worries. And I feel like some of it was, and there's so many like side ops and all sorts of stuff,
Yeah.
but like, um, it was just like you'd go okay, yeah, here's the weapons that I want, and like go, yeah, I've done this level a million times. Like it's total rooted. um and there's so many like missions, like what is even this mission, and you go off like I didn't even know there's this part of the map, and that because there's so many things happening at once. It's like I didn't
Sure.
even know this like anarchist whatever faction would even do anything over there. um and I'm just kind of looking up the trophies just to kind of remind me of a few things, but like um uh the what okay, yeah, dispose of a nuclear weapon, that was the hard one because um I like in kind of the you can buy certain things or whatever, and you can buy a nuke, um or make a nuke. And I think it was kind of for the multiplayer aspect.
Okay.
And it was just like your power rating would like go through the roof, but then everyone online would go to like just dispose of it because you'd get like so many points for like disposing of someone's nuke. Because the whole game was just about like, oh, just different, kind of political in that like, oh, we should be nuke free all over the world. So like by building a nuke, it was like the ultimate,
Like deterrent or something.
deterrent. And if you would go and secretly infiltrate somebody's, base and dispose of their nuke, you had like the ultimate points,
Gotcha.
for getting rid of a nuke. And so for the most part, there were like people would have nukes and like steal them, but then someone else would steal it because you have to steal it and then dispose of it. It takes a long time to do it. Um, and so
Is it
forever,
like a long like active time, or just like it
active
will be
time.
disposed? But I mean, sorry, that's I didn't word that right. Like, do you have to actively be doing something for a while to dispose of it, or is it you get it and then dispose of it? It'll take 2 hours or whatever.
It was like 24 hours or something like that.
Okay,
And just kind of, and there's nothing you could do to like defend.
so it
Anyway,
was like passive, like you just had to like let it run its 24 hours kind of thing.
yeah, sorry, and that's what I meant.
Okay,
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah. And then like I didn't really understand what was going on, so I was like, all right, I'll build a nuke and then I'll dispose of it. So I spent like millions of dollars, whatever, building a nuke, not knowing that like the whole community is just
I
like,
didn't even know it had that aspect to it. This
oh, it's like
online component.
I mean, it's Kojima, right? So it's like
Of course.
weirdness. So it's just like I feel like everyone in the world got notified that like somebody built a nuke. And then like immediately my like base, which had nothing, I had like
Okay.
no, I'm just like just me, and then like oh, okay, I'm gonna go dispose of my own nuke because it's a trophy. And like just gonna walk downstairs, go find my nuke. It just find like the entire world is like stolen my nuke or whatever. And I was like, what the crap? Come on. I'm just trying to get the pure Metal Gear Solid 5. And so it's like I can't get platinum without disarming a nuke. But how the crap am I gonna get a nuke? I can't like I'm not leveled up nearly. It's just like
Sure.
stealing nukes is like um the only way to get it to like get a nuke, and it's like impossible because there's so few in the ecosystem. They're all owned by people who've been playing this for years, kind of thing.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm never gonna get this platinum. It's like the last thing. So I had to like build up my mother base, buy a nuke again, and it's like $10 million or something like that. Like I had to get a stupid amount of money, buy a nuke, and then like hope to God I can like disarm it, defend it even remotely. And I finally did it. But uh, the other part was like uh, with Snake, you get like if you get bloody, whatever, you have to like you go wash up or something because if you're just like covered in blood, you'll be seen and you need your
Right.
camo.
I think
Um,
I remember that. Yeah.
but if you have ever made a nuke, you're like permanently like evil Snake. So you're covered in blood all the time, forever. So like for like so much of the game, and I remember not really cluing to it. Like I'd be in the helicopter starting a mission with like your dog, and it's like, why am I always bloody? Like always. Um, and then it was like, oh yeah, it's because you built a nuke, which is like the worst thing a human can ever do. So like you're punished forever. I was like, come on. But then like if you do this one um mission, which is kind of like uh passive time, whatever, like just kind of it's like weeks or maybe even like a month or something, and like a stupid amount of money and resources and all sorts of stuff, and you get like $1, GMP for it or whatever, and it's just like this huge undertaking. And I was like, no one would ever do that. That's stupid. Like it's so obviously some other sort of benefit. It's like, why would I ever send a whole pack of S plus soldiers and take a 40 days to get one
And is
dollar?
that
Like
to clean yourself?
because it's like and then you read it and it's like oh, a freedom mission to rescue some refugees, or it's not to gain helicopter parts or whatever. I was like, no one would ever do this. The fact that this is in this game is stupid.
Yeah.
Not cluing that like there's probably some reason. And yeah, if you
Sure.
finally do that, spend like all your every soldier you have, then you kind of clean yourself up. I can't remember if that was a trophy, but I remember just being like, oh man, okay, no
Well,
more nukes.
would you have had to do that to like get your S ranks easier, or
Maybe, yeah.
were you already done that by the time you did the nuke stuff? I
I,
guess,
I think I might have done that already, but
but just so you could play the game normally
I was just like,
again.
I'm so tired. He like because if you're bloody for too long, like you get like flies flying around you. And so I'll be like first person, and you'll see like, zoom, zoom, and I'm just like, God damn it, why can't I clean this blood off me? Come on. But
That's really funny.
oh, you had to extract all wild species. That was actually pretty fun.
That's
Like,
the balloon.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember I played a little bit of it, but I remember doing that to people and animals. Yeah.
And the animals were always fun because it was like a sheep and just like,
Yeah, I
or
can
like
see that.
a bear or like a cow. Like it was always pretty hilarious. Um, but oh yeah, uh, oh yeah, like just raising all your buddies to high ranks, like
Mhm.
just getting um quiet was like your sniper, and so
Yeah.
like I could get. Oh, and then like you have spoiler alert again. She like dies or something, and then but you do a special mission or you beat her like 5 times, and you can kind of save her and get her back.
Okay.
Um, and then just Sahelanthropus playing that end boss, trying to get S rank on that. Oh, I had to play that so many times. Um, and that's like the Metal Gear. That's the final boss, kind
Yeah.
of Metal Gear. But anyway, yeah, there was a lot of, and I had to play that
Man.
first mission several times where like you're in the hospital and
Oh
that.
my god. I almost just like I'm not playing this game because it's like and it's like nothing to speak to the quality of the game in the end because once I got to start playing it, I
Yep.
did like what I played. But I just remember being at a point and being like, I'm being chased by some guy on fire on a horse. Like, did this game start yet? Like, what is happening? I was
I thought I was
so
playing like an espionage game. What
yeah,
the
so confused.
oh,
So you had to do
um,
that multiple times to get like that. You can't like skip any of that stuff.
no, and that's the problem. Like there's a few not achievements, mission objectives to complete in that, and if you go and try to play it, it's like you're um you got like atrophy in your legs, so like you can't walk, and so you're kind
Right.
of crawling around, and you're like, I know the story. He's hurt. I get it. Like he's been in a coma. Okay, got it. I'm just trying to get to the end, but just anyway, it's like an
Because it's all
unskippable.
game. Because it's not a cutscene really. You're like playing through it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, oh my God, and it's so slow, and
Yeah.
but anyways,
It
yeah.
again, not to speak of the quality of the game because it was a lot more fun. But I just had that moment of like, what am I playing?
Yeah.
Like, what is this mission?
Okay, yeah, it was heroism points that you needed to be at a certain level, and you needed heroism. If you built a nuke, you were like negative a million heroism.
Gotcha.
And so this refugee mission would get you up to that. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah. Anyways, that was a grind, but I love that game. I just like drop in the
It,
middle of wherever and kind of.
yeah, I feel like you must have enjoyed the game to do all of that. Like
Oh
to
yeah.
put up, if you didn't, like, why would you keep playing if you had to do all that stuff and you didn't like it? So, because I just
Um,
remember, because on my friends list or whatever, sometimes when I'm playing something, I'm like, oh, I see like you're online. I'm like, what's that playing? Oh, is that still on Metal Gear Solid? It's like, it was like months. I feel like that you were. I always looked and you were playing that game.
And I remember talking to you about this, and it was like, I feel like I should move on to a new game, but I don't want
You
to.
just want to
So
keep playing, yeah.
yeah, and it's so I was like, so I'm not going. I'm gonna keep playing the game. Like,
Yeah.
what sort of pressure am I trying to put on myself? Like, I should be playing a new
Yeah.
game. No, and like there'd be a long time where it would be like, I call it like Grand Theft Auto style of playing. It's like I'm gonna go get a tank, start shooting other tanks.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah,
and
just
just
like
mess
kind of
around.
messing around. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's so much of that I could do, but
Um, yeah, I had and I'll talk to you about Persona on one of these one day. But I had a similar thing with that game recently, where the new version of the game they did like kind of a director's cut style release,
yeah,
and it was like they added a bunch of stuff, and I didn't do the 5 seconds of googling it would have taken to be like, oh, how do I unlock the new stuff? And
yeah.
it's like, oh, do this before a certain date in the game, and I was already past that date. I was like,
Oh,
well, shit. So
yeah.
like New Game Plus, what in that game? Long story short, you like build your social skills to be able to build your relationships with different people,
Yeah.
and it's like New Game Plus, you don't keep your level like your player level, but you keep your social skill levels,
Okay.
and that eats up a lot of your time in your playthrough.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, well, like that'll just be an easy New Game Plus if I don't have to like work at a flower shop 3 days a week to get my kindness up. Um, and so it was like I beat that game, which was 90 hours, and it's like, oh, you want to use your clear data to start a New Game Plus, and I was just like, yeah, yes, I do. Let's go right now. So I was like, same thing. It's like I could just move on to Crisis Core at that point. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna play Persona for another week.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
I
amazing.
totally get that. But yeah, we'll
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about that series on another day because I'm currently obsessed with it.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, I've kept you longer than I expected. Thank you for telling me about why I will never get the platinum trophy in Metal Gear Solid 5. Maybe I'll complete it one day, but I won't get that trophy.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely play it, but yeah, getting a platinum was a bit of a slog.
Yeah. I'll take your word on that one for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, no thanks needed. This was awesome. I love talking about all this stuff. So
Yeah.
no, this is awesome.
PS1 memories are very near and dear in when I think about them because it was a lot of just us hanging out in your room playing
Yeah,
on that little TV for so long before we got the aforementioned Star Fox 64 reward of the big TV and the sound system and stuff. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's cool. Okay, well that'll do it for today then. I did get all our accounts up and everything, most of what I want to use. So the podcast is on Spotify now. I made an account for us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. So I'll have all the links there for anyone that wants to follow us along. Uh, we will connect at some point when you're in New Zealand
Yeah, yeah.
to try and record another one. So we'll figure that out whenever we have time. But for now, that'll do it for us for episode 2. This was a very fun talk about our PS1 memories. I had a lot of fun.
And I love it. We have the same story, but then we have little other extra
Yeah,
pieces of info. So,
yeah. There's that Square Enix story is too good. I'm literally gonna like clip that out and like tag them on it or something. We're like, thank you for helping us get into Xenogears.
nice.
Yeah, making us fans.
Oh, awesome. Well,
Cool.
okay, cool.
All right,
Awesome.
thanks, Matt. Thanks for your time, and thanks everyone watching. Yeah, well, I don't know exactly when the next one will be up, but I'll post maybe on Twitter when I know we're going to be recording. So stay tuned to the next one, and thanks for coming along.
All right, beauty. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.